98.5, Omaha's workday favorites for hits from the 90s.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over. Nastily. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the crossover. It's brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. Duval. More awkward.
I want
that yesterday in Jacksonville or Woo Pig Suey.
Yeah, that's about as bad as it gets.
EGLSES Eagles.
There's been some rough introductory press conferences. Dana doing Woo Pig Suey was as bad.
Cake, right?
Yeah.
Is that the lowest point of his career?
Yeah, right.
Man,
the awkwardness. And you've seen it up close when they come here for the College World Series. That is an intense, chant.
You can't that.
You better mean it.
Yeah,
you better mean it when you woo pig. You better mean it, and he did not mean it.
I wish.
And then he came back. Thank you, Dana. Thank you for coming back.
And then he said, "Roll damn Jays."
I remember watching TV that night, and the local news was posted up outside of the old gym, and I was like. And they had this shot of him like getting out of his car and walking back into the old gym. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is like Omaha TMZ. This is awesome.
Do we have a full appreciation for that shot of the coach that gets fired leaving in his vehicle?
Well, we have Frost.
His dented truck.
But we also have Callahan. Remember when Bill Callahan, because they were building the North Stadium and they still had the construction. Didn't he pull out like of a
Yeah. Well, did we get the video of Cav literally doing cookies out of the parking lot in North Stadium when they all got fired that day?
I think so. We got the awkwardness.
Like
the awkwardness of the Mike Riley was everybody knew it was coming. So all the media were outside of North Stadium.
That was hard.
And so they were watching people park. And I remember seeing the video of Mike Riley in his Prius backing into his spot across
like
the street.
really slowly.
Yes. You remember like Diaco came in that sweater.
Diaco had the sweater. He was not awkward about it. He was just an awkward guy. He just walked in and he looked very dapper to get canned.
I mean, you got to get the shot. It's like watching a president leaving the helicopter.
That was the award-winning shot of the Frost.
So I worked under I think I can say it. So Kevin Suits is the one who got that shot.
Yeah.
And so I worked with Kevin. I was Kevin's intern for 3 months.
Were you with him that day?
No.
Oh.
This was years later. This was I think last summer. Yeah, it would have been last summer. I was with Kevin Suits. And so for a whole summer, I worked with Kevin. We did Sportscast together. I edited everything. I worked under him. And so Kevin's a great guy. And he's really, really funny, but then he gets really, really serious, and then he's back to being really, really funny. And so I caught him in a funny moment, and I asked him about, okay, how'd you do it? How'd you get that shot? How'd you know he was going to be there? Were you posted up that entire time? What went into getting it? How did you get him coming back around? Because he got the shot of him entering the car, and then he somehow got the shot of him coming back around. I don't want to.
But the car was the dented truck was in the stadium.
Yes, and so they drove it in and around the field
of where they walked out from the old locker room.
He was tipped off.
Yeah,
he saw. So I think this. It was a year ago, and so I don't want to fully tell. I don't that's his story to tell, but I'm pretty sure he saw someone else up there already looking at it. And then he went up there and he was able to balance in a way to get the camera.
Because you can see it from that gate.
You have clear vision.
Yeah. So
when-
I don't think he was tipped off. I think he was just kind of moseying around, and then he just saw it and got it.
when Miles got fired, he had somewhat of a nice, comfortable sweater on too.
Yeah, he walked out of
West Stadium and then talked to people for a few minutes.
and we were going to drink beer with him.
Yeah, as he does. Yeah, yep.
But we never figured out why the truck was damaged.
Never heard about.
Apparently, that truck
why-
had a lot of things in it too, and cup holders weren't always cleaned out or
Well,
stuff like
you
that.
gotta put your spitter somewhere.
Yeah. Yep.
But like the Bill Callahan
That in the
video,
private plane.
like the Bill Callahan video, like he went racing.
Yeah.
Like people were standing outside of the gate, and here comes Callahan in SUV, like
Mhm.
just blowing by people.
Yeah, man, those
Those were the days.
Those days when, I mean, those are crazy times. When Riley did that press conference, that was wild. He was like, Mike would like to say a word, and he gets up there.
No, you remember what
Hello,
it was?
everybody.
So Moose announced that they were making a change, and then he goes, and Mike,
Yeah.
here a little bit later,
And-
is going to come in and say some words.
And we thought that might happen just because of everyone's like respect toward Mike Riley. And I was mildly surprised to actually see it happen. And then he walked in, and the room is full, and it's dead. Like, you know how awkward things are when rooms are full and then it's dead silent. And a guy just walks in. It's like, what do? You tap the guy in the back,
well,
He was
remember,
like-
after he got done, he went around and shook everyone's hand.
shook everybody's hand for a little while. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it can't be as bizarre. And I wasn't here for this. I was living out of state. Nothing will top, though, Doc Sadler.
Yep. Doc
Were
had
you
the press
there?
conference. I wasn't at the Doc press conference. No.
I can't imagine what that room was
Well,
like.
He made it through not very long before he started crying and walked away, right?
Yeah. But didn't T.O. make him speak?
I don't know. I don't know if he wanted to or what the story was with that. But yeah, we've had multiple coaches who had been fired do a press conference here at Nebraska.
But the ones that we really want didn't, named Bo and Scott.
100%. I would have loved a Scott press
Bo
conference.
kind of did his exit press conference, but through players and language.
There was a bit of a press conference there. Don't know if it was supposed to be out there, but
I don't think it was scheduled on the media. I don't think everyone got emailed about it.
They don't call press conferences at Lincoln North Star usually.
Wouldn't that have been bizarro world? Like Bo's lawyer or agent reach out to local media and they say, hey, Bo outside of his house is going to make a statement.
Yeah. God.
He'll take questions.
He'll take questions. After he's done talking to the team and calling the athletic director the C word, he will take your questions.
And then he's like, then he's like, all right, guys. Hey, afterwards, we got burgers and hot dogs and broadside here. We got a cooler. For those who don't drink, we got some Diet Coke and sodas. And then
Bo was
have a
obviously
barbecue.
he was obviously still a little fired up about the way he was treated and things like that at Nebraska. But I would imagine that there was also a hint of relief from him on that day. Like, bleep it, I'm out of here. Like that would have been fun. That would have been fun. Not for some people, but for the fans who were, gobbling that stuff up. Yeah, you bet.
I mean, and all those guys like Frost, not as much, but a lot of those guys immediately get out of Lincoln. It's wild that Tim Miles lived for the next year in Lincoln.
Yeah. They stopped by some local podcasts, had some beer with some folks, told some stories.
I don't think they've gotten some momentum going at San Jose State.
No, they haven't. I always thought that he would be able to have success there and then move back into the Mountain West or something like that, or higher, I guess, and because they're in the Mountain West, right? Higher into the Mountain West, but I don't know. Maybe there's still a chance if somebody moves up, but I don't know what he wants to do now.
He really hasn't talked like
No.
Now
He's not really out there.
Yeah, his kids finished in Lincoln.
Yep.
But he never really you periodically hear, hey, I saw Tim Miles at the grocery store, was cordial, but he's not like, let me tell you about what's going on right now. And him and Hoiberg were like neighbors.
Yeah. Well, didn't Fred like publicly like say like, hey, I talked with Tim for a while and you know, all that stuff.
I went over to his house and we hung out on the lanai.
Yeah. And they were the guy in Flex would have been Roby, right? And he went to the NBA, and wasn't the story that Fred was like, just go to the NBA.
Yeah.
Don't come back. Just go to the NBA. They could have used him that year. It probably wouldn't have worked out for Isaiah. Maybe he would have found out how good he was in that season. Well, that was a bad year.
That seems like a long time ago.
It does. We don't we haven't had a firing in a while.
Are you kind of clamoring for one?
Yeah, I'm getting a little itchy.
All right, Matt, since you're the new guy here, your power rankings of who is most likely to get fired of the in-state.
Who is
on the hottest of hottest seats?
Who will be the next awkward press conference?
I mean, Fred's seat's got to be the hottest, right?
Is this Nebraska? I don't think there's anyone in Creighton and Omaha off the top of my head that I can think that would be filed into the ranking. I think it literally is just Scott or Matt or Fred.
Well, there's always the Mac leaving.
Now
thing.
are we? So yeah. So are
that,
we talking about like what's like? Because Rhonda Revelle could leave, you know, at some point, you know, because she's been there for a while.
She would retire.
She would retire. Exactly. John Cook could retire at some point. Mac could retire at some point. So are we talking like who's
John
more likely
Cook retiring would be probably the next one,
which would be like a big deal.
That'd be a big day.
So like, do I get to rank that, or do I like we're just talking about firing?
No, let's do that. What's this is a weird game, but
this is
what's the next?
So I think right now
the next major coaching move to happen.
I think Fred won't get fired at the end of this year, but I think that Fred is coaching for his seat to be less hot next year if they keep going in the trajectory that they're going. And so I don't think at the end of next season, Matt Rule, unless they end up going like 3-9, which I highly doubt that will happen, or 4-8, I don't think Matt's going anywhere. So I would say Fred is more likely to get let go than Matt is at this point. In terms of like,
Fred would probably leave before he got
officially
chased out by the posse.
Yeah, but I think at this point, I mean, we're currently at the point where it's like Fred's seat, if they continue to go down like the road that they're going down right now, like he's coaching for a seat not to be hot or as hot next year, because like if once again this whole transfer portal thing doesn't work out, like he very well could be on the way. So I would say Fred ahead of Matt. And then I don't know, like the whole retiring thing, that's all speculation. I think Bolt like is fine. I know that Bolt has said publicly that they want to host a regional, and that's kind of the bar, and they've poured in the money and resources to a certain extent. But I think Will is totally okay. I don't think he's fine.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think it's just Fred over Matt. And then if you just want to speculate that.
But hold on, back to what you said. If let's say this year is, what'd you say, 3-8 or 4-9, or would be 3-9,
3-9. He's gone.
Oh yeah, you'd make a change.
He's gone. So
would he?
But I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going 3-9 or 4-8. That's my thing. Oh, absolutely. So
he's
out of here.
You have to pinpoint the.
And if Fred doesn't win a Big Ten game for the rest of the season, if they lose out the rest of the way, they might just pull the plug right then and there.
But like I said, like he's the kind of guy who they would never catch him. He would just leave.
Oh, look, I found the job at the end of the Orlando Magic.
So you have to pinpoint they would like a spot where would it get contentious? Would there be? I mean, because it was like Trev versus Frost for a year.
Yeah,
and
and
we knew who was going to win.
We can't.
So like, and it was Moose versus Miles, and it was all that. Like I don't.
It's for sure Fred over Matt.
I don't see that at the moment. I don't think that it would.
Unless the only way that there's something that happens with men's basketball in Lincoln is if they totally collapse. Like they're not going to lose the rest of the year, but if they have a complete collapse and you lose, the team just quits.
Yeah,
then you have to make that decision. But Fred will get. All right, we had some misses this year.
Yeah,
I'll be back next year. We'll move forward, and then you have the discussion. But we also don't know. Like, what's the what's the general feeling about where basketball is?
Yeah.
Compared to what I give you as resources.
So I don't know if there's a whole bunch of urgency.
Well, the thing is too is that like Fred,
Football's in the way.
Well, yeah.
this
That's got some urgency.
I found a good stat. Caleb Henry on Twitter put it out there. If they were to go 6-5 the rest of the way, Nebraska basketball, they would have the 8th best 3-season stretch in like the last 40 years of the team. And so then you get into the conversation about like, okay, that's great, but like, are we really? Is that what's important to the athletic department, that relative to what Nebraska basketball has been, that they're in the upper echelon of that? Or is it important to them that they have sustained long-term success of consistently making the tournament and being a viable threat in the Big Ten?
Yeah,
because that's two different bars. If we're going off the bar of like, you just have to be successful relative to the past success of Nebraska basketball, if that's the bar, then I think Fred might be Coach Hoiberg might be better off than I'm saying it to be. But if they end this year and they're absolutely terrible, like they continue to go in the way that they are, and then they miss again in transfer portals again next year, it'd be tough. There's
a lot that goes into that.
There's a lot that goes into that.
But there is the part of the retirement that in the next 5 to 7 years, there will be some significant people that will be retiring.
Mhm.
Rhonda Revelle, probably when Jordy Ball is done.
Yeah.
I mean, Nebraska, there's a lot of expectations for softball with Jordy.
Yeah.
When she's done, probably Rhonda will retire. Incredible career. John Walker probably is getting closer to retirement.
Mhm.
John Cook is still a ways away, but he's going to retire.
Always something that's on people's minds, though.
Yes. And then Mac. It's crazy that Mac's been here for 15 years.
Yeah.
There are very few college basketball coaches that have
that.
been at the same place for 15
Actually,
years.
let's see. Longest tenured.
I think Mac and
Clemson.
Look at
Brownell and
I
Clemson.
don't think he's been there for 15 years.
I think it's
but
like 13.
he was on the hot seat. He was going to get fired, and then they went to the Sweet 16 in Omaha.
All right, so he's pretty close to the top. Him and Fran McCaffrey, who we'll see.
I think he's.
So the first guy that came to my head was Leonard Hamilton, who is 100 years old, and we'll see what happens there. He's been there since 02-03. So Mark Few has been the coach at Gonzaga since 1999. Tom Izzo has been the coach at Michigan State since 1995. Is Izzo close? Is it?
Yes.
Izzo's closer than far.
We're all getting closer, right?
We're all on the back nine.
Speak for yourselves.
Randy Bennett at St. Mary's, 2001. Scott Drew has been at Baylor since 03. That guy's name comes up every year. What about Bill Self? How close is Bill Self?
I think probably closer than you think.
Yeah, I would say so
he's
too.
had some health problems, right?
And
he did. Yeah, he had.
Everybody can pay players now.
Lost my edge.
Not just KU.
That
totally.
is a serious discussion about
guys,
schools that aren't as dominant as they were, because now the playing field is a little bit level.
And guys, especially in like his age bracket, where they just get triggered about that stuff.
Yes.
Like, he's not much of a. I want to give him credit here, but like he doesn't seem like much of an adapter and an evolver. You know what I mean? He's more like, this sucks.
But that list of coaches that have been at their respective school in basketball for 15 plus years is very rare.
Is there another stop yet for Dana Altman?
I don't think so. If you would have gone back to before Moose hired Hoiberg, I would have said his next and final stop was in Lincoln.
I know. He's 66.
But now you're in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
you
it's
have some
just
stability.
that time for Dana Altman plus Nebraska is coming.
I think Collins is getting close to 15. He's been at Northwestern for 11 years.
Yep, that's a guy who's been around for a little while now.
I think
there's some big names in the sport.
I think Brownell is.
I mean, think about it. Like
15.
Izzo, Few, Self, Scott Drew, Matt Painter, all been at their places for almost 20 years, at least 20 years in most cases, except for Painter. Painter's in his 20th season, I believe, right now.
I haven't had many basketball coaches at Purdue.
No, they love their long-time coaches. They love long time
and toupees.
Like the
What's a better
Pittsburgh Steelers of college basketball? Purdue.
What's a better discussion? Who's going to replace John Cook or who's going to replace Mac?
I think Mac. Like better in what way?
Well, they both have incredible coaching trees.
Well,
and very obvious successors.
yeah.
You know?
Is there an obvious one at Creighton?
Well, there's not one that stands out above all the rest, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of options. I mean, D-Rock,
DeVries.
I mean, he feels like he's destined for Iowa. You know?
I mean, if the Brinks truck isn't driving around his neighborhood in Morgantown right now with
Yeah.
Iowa license plates,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Just want to put out some signs there for him. The college basketball hiring class of 2010-2011 still intact. Here are the names: Tad Boyle at Colorado, Greg McDermott at Creighton, Fran
Now-
McCaffrey at Iowa.
Go back to Tad.
Yeah.
So Colorado has been fairly good. This year they're struggling a little bit.
Right.
But quietly, he's still the head coach at Colorado.
Still the head coach at Colorado. Not much urgency there.
They made the tournament.
They've had a good stretch this
3
year.
years ago.
They had
This year
Jariah
they
Horn
were-
that one time. I love Jariah Horn. I love
Who
that.
didn't have him?
Well, he played at a couple
He
places.
played at a lot of places.
I wish he would have stayed at Nebraska. I loved that guy.
Do you think most people know who the basketball coach is at CU?
like Colorado fans? Or
I
like,
mean,
no,
it's-
no. You don't.
he.
You know,
So his first year was the last year of the Big 12.
his first year was the last year of the Big 12. I believe
That's a
right.
weird sentence.
Yeah.
And he's had good success. Now, I think they were the last team to win a conference game this year in the Big 12.
Whew.
But they were competitive in the Pac-12.
Let's see what they're at on Ken Palm. Sorry. 100, 9-10. Oh, they have lost many in a row. They're 0-8. They
Okay,
have
so
not.
still haven't won a
They
game.
have not yet won a Big 12 game.
All right, so Tad Boyle, Mac.
Tad Boyle, Mac, Fran McCaffrey, Dana Altman. And there's a couple guys in lower levels who are still hanging around.
At their schools?
Yeah. The coach at Boise State, Leon Rice. The Brad Brownell at Clemson. Keith Richard at Louisiana Monroe.
Keith Richards?
Keith Richard, one singular Richard.
Is he like 90?
Andrew Toole at Robert Morris. Todd Kowalczyk at Toledo. Kowalczyk. And
Like
Russell Turner at UC Irvine. UC Irvine is pretty good this year. That's a good mid-major program.
But does it say something if you've been at a mid-major program that long and you haven't moved up?
Well, how about the one guy?
Now, Leon
longest-
Rice has done a great job at Boise State.
The longest tenured coach in college basketball is Greg Camp at Oakland, and he
Yeah.
he just won the NCAA tournament game last year with Golke. He's been there since '84.
Jeez.
Whoa!
Yeah, I'm looking at Leon Rice's
And I tell you
resume.
what, it was a pleasure to watch him coach last year.
0-5 in the big dance, 3-3 in the NIT, 2-1 in the CBI.
Who's this?
This is Leon Rice.
Leon Rice. Creighton had some Boise State matchups back in the day.
The last TV game I ever did, and I blame Boise State, is Nick Baugh and I are doing a game, and Boise State beat Creighton in one of Doug's last year
Did you do it on like KMTV?
on Cox. And I was never asked back. True story. They lost.
They
And
had
you
some
think it's
shooters
'cause
on
they
that team.
lost.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, if Happer announced that the Paul game and DePaul ended up winning, they wouldn't ask you back.
That's
next
right. I
time.
would never ever be
Off
back.
the list.
Yeah, I was very concerned about that. one week ago today, I was shaking.
That might be the only thing I think about before the game. If I was in your shoes, like, oh my gosh, if they lose, I'm never going to get to do this again.
Yeah, they're not gonna let you back, especially to DePaul.
Like
Oh my
the
God.
awkwardness
yeah.
of the post-game radio show.
Oh my god, it would have been
Oh,
bad.
Hey, coach, how'd it go out there?
Where's John?
I want to go. I want to go home.
You get a text from Rob. Matt can't make it out. Do you have enough filler?
Also, you're on the 5:00 p.m. flight tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll be like Wintrust
Have fun.
Arena. By the way, you got to find another hotel because your reservation ends at 11 a.m.
Yeah, check out.
Make sure you check out.
Use the concierge. Kelvin Sampson's been at Houston since 14. Bruce Pearl's been at Auburn since 14. Wayne Tinkle's still hanging in there somehow. Wayne Tinkle went to that one Elite Eight in the COVID year, and you just can't get rid of that guy now. But they're okay. I mean, they're playing basketball in the WCC, Oregon State. People forget about that.
No.
People forget.
Yeah.
They're one of the best mid-major teams in the country.
Hi, I am people.
You know what is wild in the Pacific Northwest? And it's too bad that, and I'm not sure if they played the non-con, but Washington, Oregon State, so you could have a sprinkle against a tinkle.
Could work.
Danny Sprinkle.
That sounds like a good promotion to me.
Yeah.
Sprinkle takes on Tinkle.
It is at this point that I would like to remind everyone the WCC basketball tournament bracket.
Oh yeah, the
This
triple,
year.
quadruple,
Yes.
5 buys.
Yes.
An incredible bracket.
The 1 and 2 seeds get a quadruple bye into the semifinals.
We must protect Gonzaga and St. Mary's.
Yes, that's right.
But that actually is like a smart play.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to play 9 games in order to win it all.
If I'm Pepperdine, I probably don't like it, but I get it.
You make the regular season matter.
No, but if you're Pepperdine, then you get to you don't have to run into Gonzaga right away, right? You might win 3 games before you have to go home
a little longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe it works for both sides.
What's the Summit League? The Summit League, do they have? Is it a double bye? Is it a single bye? Is it
Single bye?
Just a
for
single
the 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then they play 7, 10, and 8, 9.
Gotcha.
And Big East is single bye for the top 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Big Ten is double bye.
It's
Double bye for the top 4.
Yeah. It's
Or
single.
is it still work
No,
that way with
I
15
think,
teams?
I think it's different now. I think it's different because they used to have 14 teams. Now they have 15 teams in their tournament. So I think they've adjusted
Why could
that.
they've done 18?
Yeah, right.
Because I don't know.
Okay.
Just started
Not
on
everybody
Monday.
deserves to be there, guys.
double bye for 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
8 and 9 get a bye into the second round, as well as
6
5,
and 7.
6, 7.
So 5. Oh, so they added. So
there's
9.
one play-in. There's one more play-in.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
there's one
That's,
more.
now-
that's
but
the easier
but
way
now
to explain it.
9
I'm sorry.
But 9 didn't used to get a bye. Now 9 does get a bye because 5, 6, 7, 8 got a bye in the old tournament.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like
14.
barely a bye though. It's not really a bye.
Right.
It's a bye. It's a bye.
So
it's
if you're
totally a
if you're
bye.
a 15, you'd play 6 straight days.
If you're a
1,
15,
2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
Kept at 5. Yeah. 5 games in 5 days.
5 games.
Go Cats.
What a
It's,
task for Nebraska.
So you'd only have to win one more.
What are you saying?
to win the?
I'm saying they're
National
not going to
championship.
be the 8 or 9 seed in the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, you don't think so?
Oh,
I-
hot take.
I don't.
And that's too bad because if you're the 8 or the 9, you're probably in the NCAA tournament before
So-
you get to Indy.
The 13-12 game will open the Big Ten tournament this year on Peacock at 3:30 on Wednesday afternoon.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I believe
I'm gonna have
March
to-
12th is a Wednesday.
I'm gonna have to reschedule my mid-afternoon nap so I can see leading scorer in the Big Ten, Nick Martinelli, try and lead the Cats to the promised land.
Try and beat Nebraska.
Nebraska won't be the 12th.
Is
seed.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus going to be there?
Nebraska won't be the 12th seed, so we know they won't be the 8th, the 9th.
No,
or
I'm
the
not
12th.
getting. I'm not getting put in this corner. I'm not getting put in this corner. I did not make a take.
What seed are they going to be, Matt?
I don't know, guys. I have no clue. Just like who's going to get fired or retired next, I have no idea.
Well, you really, if you don't want to be the 12 or the 13, you want to be the 11.
Yeah, you want to avoid the 1.
Yeah, you want to play against the 14.
I'll never forget that. I never will forget.
There's got to be some
When-
game in here. So you
when
got an 8:30 Wednesday tip off.
Nebraska had-
3:30 Wednesday tip off. That would help.
Nebraska beat Ohio State at the end of the year.
Winner
And it
gets
was
the
a ranked, and it
six
was a
instead of the
ranked
5.
win, and it was a ranked win for Nebraska basketball, who was like either going to be the last seed or the second to last seed in the Big Ten tournament. And everyone was like, well, actually, and they were trying to do like the mathematics of like what the best option would be for Nebraska in terms of matchups, as if they
Got to
were
find a
going,
path.
as if they were going to win 5 games in 5 days.
Mhm. It happens.
It was crazy.
It happens. The Nebraska women
Has it happened? Has it happened?
Nebraska women went all the way to the Big Ten final last year.
Has that happened
That's
though
right.
with Nebraska men or just men's basketball in the Big Ten tournament? Has the team gone from?
they
Tim
have-
Miles had a run.
They have either been a double bye or a no bye,
Yeah.
and they've never made it past the semifinals.
No, I'm saying I'm not talking about.
They've never made it
Nebraska
to the semifinals.
I am not talking
Last year.
about
They won a game.
He's asking if any team
Any
has
team
gone
has
from
gone
the first
from
day to the last.
last
day.
day. First day to last
in
day.
the Big
So,
Ten. I have no
Before the Big Ten expanded to include Nebraska and the others, Iowa did it.
I thought I would do it. I wasn't asking about Nebraska's history. I was like, I wonder if a team is actually.
But remember the enthusiasm when Miles won 2 games?
I do. Thor.
It was
Johnny
fun.
Trueblood.
You had a dream. Remember Miles slipped. He was coming to the tunnel.
That's
celebrated
right, he
fans,
fell.
and he took a fall.
Yeah. They went to the NIT, and one of the most memorable Nebraska basketball games that I've ever been at when they played in front
TCU.
of 3,000. No, it was Butler.
Oh,
They played Butler
TCU
at home,
there.
and there was like 3,500 people there. But those 3,500 people were absolutely juiced. It was incredible. And then they won.
Do you remember what he did in the post game? He grabbed the mic.
He grabbed the mic and he said, "Thanks, everybody. Goodbye."
But it was supposed to be like the Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah. It's like
Everybody's like,
you
you're
are
a dead man walking.
Yeah, you're definitely
If
leaving.
Nebraska were to make it to the NIT and were to host an NIT game,
Here we go.
would PBA be sold out and juiced and ready to go?
No.
You think no? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I think if you had like Jordy Ball and Harper Murray and I don't know, Raiola signing autographs.
You can do the football dunk contest.
When is that coming?
I don't know. It's got to be soon.
Do
Matt Drill's dunk contest.
you think they'll allow Hoiberg to be in it? Fedoni will come back.
You have to.
Jeremiah Charles.
You think I
What's-
could do a mat drill? You think I could get through a day of mat drills, Connor Happer?
No.
We should ask. That'd be great content. We should ask Nebraska football if I can do that. If I can show up one day to their practice at 5:30 in the morning. And
There's
try
probably
and do
some
it.
legalities in there.
Yeah, or maybe
Sign a
we just
waiver.
maybe we just
If you get Rabdo, you
We
can't
just-
sue us.
we just get hey Corey, we have this idea. We're gonna send you one of our radio guys, and we're gonna send a camera with him, and you're gonna put him through a full mat drill, and we're gonna see how long it takes him before he throws up.
Well, you work on that.
I do it. I would do it if that was an option. I would do it.
See you guys later.
Yeah. Have a good show.
You guys too. Well, tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. That's Crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Tuesday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Are we really going to do this, as the big voice guy would say? Yeah.
I think we are.
Yeah, I think we are. It's nearly February, and it feels like
It
March.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you there will be a lot worse days attempting to watch college baseball in a matter of about 6 weeks in these parts. So enjoy it now while we have it.
Get in line for the car wash now.
That's important. Also, some more committed than I might want to take to the links at some point this week.
Oh.
Get out there. I mean, not
Hitting.
much. Usually on days like this, you're worried about if the ground would be too soggy. We haven't had any snow, so I think you're cooking.
It's gonna rain later this week.
Rain,
Huh.
It'll be good for the grass, good for the farmers.
We needed this.
We definitely needed this. That's what I'm going to say when it rains. All right. Today on the show, we will have our regular Tuesday chats with Allan Bell. Driving the line. A week ago, I was listening to the Allan Bell interview while I was getting my equipment set up in Chicago during Creighton shoot around.
Oh, hello.
It was like Allan Bell's talking, and they were talking about bets that Jimmy was asking about bets that they liked for the upcoming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't listen closely enough to see if he hit him, but I'm sure Allan did a great job.
Usually does.
Jacob Bigelow will join at 1:00 to talk college hoops. That's the lineup, powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Also today, I figured, why not do the first ever college basketball reaction overreaction?
Oh, sicko.
Some football-brained idiots are sitting around and they're saying, "Are you kidding me? This is disgusting." And you know what I say to them? Cry about it.
Ooh.
College basketball is here.
Hoops.
And it is going to be filling up whatever source of, timeline that you have for the next
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
We're going to hit it hard for 8 weeks.
8 weeks, college basketball.
You can give me 8 weeks of hoops.
Ain't nothing going on with Nebraska football. They're bringing in the guy from Notre Dame. We might talk about it. His name is Rocco. That's pretty cool.
Rocco.
Yeah, Nebraska needs a guy named Rocco.
Yeah.
So they'll probably take him if he's interested. Other than that, not much going on. Unless you guys want to cover mat drills, which I don't. You're working out hard. Good.
No.
Great.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, we will take a look at a couple college basketball coaches. I have heard this weird buzz over the last couple days about Fred Hoiberg and the F word.
What?
Firing?
Oh, okay, that F word.
Absolutely not, everybody. So let's talk
No.
about this during the show today. We'll bring it up. I'll make the case. I'll make the case for that to not happen. And then another F word, Fran. What's going on with Iowa basketball? And what happens next as they finish out this season? Elsewhere, we'll introduce everybody to Liam Cohen, as he did yesterday.
Liam
Duval. I strive to one day have as good of control over my eyebrows as that man does. We'll talk about the plight of Josh Allen. What an interesting case study Josh Allen is.
Yeah.
We'll break it down and try to come up with a comparison for what Josh Allen is going through right now. It's complicated with Josh. Maryland finding $10 million in basketball NIL somewhere in a couch. That's great. And of course, we'll take you out to the Lightem final last night.
Finally.
Where bats were indeed flipped. And I've never seen a longer trot around the bases than I did in the Lightem final in the 9th inning, Game 7 last night.
And nobody freaked out about it.
No. Everybody embraced it.
Yeah.
Everybody said, this is awesome.
Imagine having fun
It was
during a
fantastic.
baseball game.
The guy threw his bat into the moon. So all of that coming up today on the show. We would encourage you to get in touch with us. 402-951-1620. You can call or text that number on the hotline. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor or Josh Show at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. What's up? Theo says Happer Show, heart with the arrow through it. Other shows, sleepy emoji. Thank you, Theo.
Well, we know you might be at work, and we want to keep the energy high while you're at work.
So we aim to put arrows through your hearts here on the Connor Happer Show.
Can I get some Cupid emojis in the chat?
Cupid emojis, like the one that Theo did?
Yeah.
Okay, throw that in there. Yeah, do those. It's a little personal, but yeah, it's good. It's a very personal format.
We're approaching Valentine's Day. Why not?
That's right, Josh.
Men, listen up.
We're also approaching the end of the month, where Josh will unveil his top 5 poll questions of the month of January, like Thursday, Friday.
Friday is the last day of the month.
Okay, so we'll do it Friday.
Your choice, Friday or Monday.
Friday works.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't know what days are anymore. So you're telling me that Saturday is February 1st?
That is correct.
Okay, interesting. So, all that coming on the show today. Welcome to it. We also have a couple giveaways today.
A couple giveaways?
Actually, I shouldn't say a couple. That was false.
Sorry.
One giveaway.
Uno giveaway.
Yeah. And we'd like to remind people while we're at it, speaking of the giveaway, that the zone deal this week is to Woodcliff, which is voted Omaha's best outdoor patio and the perfect romantic dinner for 2.
Oh, interesting.
Bow and arrow through the heart emoji. You can enjoy all of Woodcliff Restaurant's delicious food with a perfect view of the lake, and a Thursday burger special or Friday's fish special. The zone deal is on sale this Friday, half off, 2 $25 vouchers for just $25 on sale at 9 at 1620thezone.com. Or you could stay tuned to this show today and get it all for $0. That sounds like a good idea to me, Josh.
Yeah.
So be listening for that as we go on throughout the show today. We're off and running on a Tuesday. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone is reminding you to get your bleep together.
Yeah, you.
It's just a general reminder. Get your bleep together. We want to help you get your bleep together with $5,000. $5,000, Josh.
That would really help me get my bleep together.
It would help me get my bleep together too. That would be fantastic. But we are ineligible for the prize. And you, if you are listening, unless you work in this building or are a radio show host on this station, you are also ineligible. But most of you are eligible to win this $5,000 to get your bleep together. On our website right now, enter at 1620thezone.com. Josh,
Connor,
let's go back to the biggest thing that happened in sports last night. That's right, the Dominican
Arizona
Baseball League.
Oh, okay.
I knew you were going to say that. The Dominican Baseball League. Normally, we wouldn't talk about the Dominican Baseball League on this show.
Feels more like an afternoon topic with Nick.
But I was surprised this morning when Nick walked in. I go, Nick, did you see the Lightem? No, he asked us. He asked, did you see the Lightem final last night? And I was like, actually, yes. Did you? And he goes, no.
Kind of assumed everyone, because there's very viral highlight from that game that we're about to talk about.
It was very out there.
I assumed that's how Nick was going to start his day, because, I mean, if he's in on Australian League baseball, surely he saw the Lightem final that went viral last night.
You can definitely reel me in for a tie game in the 9th inning of Game 7 of the Lightem final. And boy, did Junior Caminero connect. This is Junior Caminero hitting a go-ahead, who plays for, I believe, for the Tampa Bay Rays, hitting a go-ahead home run for the Leones del Escogido in the 9th inning against Licey. Licey wins they basically win they're like the Yankees of the Dominican League. I
hate them so much.
The Tigres del Licey.
I'm sick of these guys.
Apparently, by the way, Juan Soto was scheduled to appear at like Mets Fest today or yesterday or something like that, but they said that he will not appear because he had flight troubles, but was also seen in the Licey dugout last night.
Good start with the Mets.
People were wondering, is he going to pinch hit or something? Like, are they going to put him in? No, but they probably should have. They would have got a nice walk out of it in the bottom of the 9th. They didn't end up doing that, but this happened in the top of the 9th instead. Listen in.
Jairo Asensio, el líder en juegos salvados de todos los tiempos. Duro por el center field. No. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Lo hizo otra vez. Óiganme, señores. ¿Qué palo ha dado este muchacho?
Dale un cuadrangular a tu salud con los medicamentos genéricos Línea Azul. Línea Azul, producto con calidad certificada, calidad Infaca. Ese jugador llegó seguro con Mexana. Aquí se viene a darlo todo con Mexana para los que se la juegan todos los días.
¿Qué clase de contacto? En su turno anterior la estrelló de aire allá al jardín central y aquí lo retó Jairo Asensio. Y qué clase de palo. La pelota regresó, pero honrón enorme y pone de la
Caminero. Mostly, if you were watching along with this on YouTube, it was more of a visual thing. Although I did appreciate the audio version of I Can't Believe It.
Why did that part need to be in English?
I don't know, but I appreciated that it was.
Yes.
I probably would have understood if he had said I Can't Believe It in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sure. Would have got there.
Yep.
I Can't Believe It twice. And that was, I think that was a grand total of a minute, 30-second clip that we played about half of it. So what you basically saw was a roughly 60 to 70 second home run trot around the bases for Junior Caminero last night. Unbelievable stuff. And what you didn't see on that version of the replay was after Junior Caminero hit it and he bombed it. It was like 470 feet, dead center. Never a doubt.
The people who cover baseball were like, I cannot stress
I
to
can't
you
believe it.
how nobody, and I mean nobody, hits a home run to dead center of that ballpark.
It was not close. I mean, it flew over the fence by a mile. And so what you didn't see on that angle was immediately after Caminero made contact with the baseball, he stood, looked at his dugout, which was already pouring out onto the field, did a couple like let's goes, whatever, and then threw his bat to outer space. The angle from the side, which we don't have, I wish we had it. The angle from the side showed Junior Caminero's bat going what appeared to be above the foul pole in height before it settled back to the earth. So what do you think? Is baseball good, Josh?
I've always thought that baseball is great.
Thank you. Platcat writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Platcat.
New segment alert. I can't believe it. How about that?
All right, there might be something there.
Your I can't believe it of the day. Just grab that. It's very easy.
Steve Jobs on the YouTube chat.
Steve Jobs.
That's right.
Wow, unbelievable. He's okay.
If Madison Bumgarner was pitching during that, he would have pulled a gun on the hitter. That's right.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Madison Bumgarners in that league,
No.
if you know what I mean. But the Venezuelan Winter League has long been a great place or the Dominican Winter League, sorry, has long been a great place for baseball players to hone in their skills during the winter.
That does remind me.
And by skills, I mean bat flips.
Did you see the Rocket City Trash Pandas dunk on Trevor Bauer?
No.
Somebody in the Rocket City Trash Pandas system hit a huge donger off of Trevor Bauer, and the Rocket City Trash Pandas made sure everyone knew.
You just got donged by a trash panda?
Yeah. Hey, guy who says he should be in Major League Baseball.
And then there's this whole weird corner of the internet that's like, get him back to the major leagues. He's being blackballed. Nope, I don't think so.
No, I think he's mid as hell.
It just might not be that good anymore. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other stuff.
Oh, yeah, the other stuff.
There's the other stuff, too. Mm-hmm. What a great way to finish my night off last night. I couldn't. And this was after, and we'll play this later, too, during our college basketball reaction overreaction segment, which will be great. This was either right after or right before Caleb Love hit a deeper than half court shot to send Arizona into overtime, and the noises that came out of that building against Iowa State last night. That was pretty incredible. Caleb Love, what an experience. Caleb Love doesn't hit the broadside of a barn for the entire game for 40 minutes, and then
that one time
in the last 1 second. And then he made a bunch of shots in overtime, too, for Arizona to get a crucial win last night. Text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
Pitchers need to celebrate when they strike these guys out. Watch the hitters whine and complain and stare down the pitcher. Pitchers must start celebrating. Do you think the pitchers must not retaliate with hitting baseball players in the back or in the head, but instead celebrate? Is this a proper solution to baseball's celebration problem?
I would be okay with it.
Sure. Absolutely. Why not? I've always said, hey, if you do something like that, just know that you might get one in the back next time. Mm-hmm. But in the ninth inning of Game 7, all bets are off. You could toss that bat to outer space if you want to.
Sure.
And that's what Junior Caminero did last night.
I'm just trying to pick. I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but like, if Freddie Freeman had flipped his bat to outer space in the World Series, and
I would have appreciated it.
Yeah.
Now, there was still several games left in that series after that.
Sure.
And he was a bit hobbled, if we remember correctly.
Right. And it was the bottom of the ninth, so he didn't.
May not have been advisable, considering there was more yet to come. But it's the World Series. You have to be very careful with your retaliation.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next, we will lay out the Josh Allen case. What an interesting case study. Because not only is Josh Allen, banging his head up against a brick wall named Patrick Mahomes, it's not that he's not playing well. In fact, he is playing well in these games.
Very well.
But will he ever get over the hump? We'll try to make some comparisons and ask you all some questions about what we do with Josh Allen coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Couple emails here from the Equitable Bank inbox. First, we have a certified sicko.
Oh, okay.
TJ or TL3.
Hi, TL3.
So, he apparently has a spreadsheet of all of the teams in college baseball who either have or have not released their schedules yet.
College baseball?
College baseball. You've got this email, right? It came to your inbox. You probably deleted it immediately because you're
I keep it tight.
Yeah, clearly. You just saw this and you were like, I don't need this.
I saw it and I didn't see it said baseball.
College baseball is less than 3 weeks away. And according to TL3, there is 3 teams in college baseball who have yet to release their schedules. So get on it, Oakland, Murray State, and Florida A&M. Otherwise, we are all set for college baseball.
Who wouldn't know their schedule at this point?
Well, it's a great question. I'm more wondering who keeps track of these things. And apparently that's TL3. I can't believe it. That's our I can't believe it of the day. Brought to you.
Good segment.
Good segment. Yeah, we gotta our bar's getting full here.
Yeah, we're getting full.
We gotta clean her out.
Yeah.
Do some reorganization. We got a lot of grunts on here.
Mm-hmm. Don't need those.
Sorry, let me get rid of that. Yeah. We got a lot of those. We've only got 1 game left to grunt, Josh. And I don't know what kind of grunt it's going to get from you.
I don't have to get in the lab and make one.
Is it just is it just going to be one like Well, just stay tuned. Next Thursday we'll find out. A long lead up to that grunt. Elsewhere from the Equitable Bank inbox from Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Why is everyone okay with hitters yelling and flexing and the dugout yelling back at the hitter when they hit a double? But if you celebrate a home run, then the opposing team gets all offended. This one truly confuses me. Everyone has the celebration when they get to second base now.
Yeah.
They're doing hip gyrations and they're flinging their hands and fingers and arms around everywhere.
Yeah.
They're doing TikTok dances, things like that. They're yelling back to the dugout. And everyone's just okay with that.
That's a good point.
Chris is wondering what the difference is between that and when you hit a home run. Maybe it's because when you hit a home run and you show up the pitcher like the ball is still in the air, at least when you get to second, the play is like over, you know?
Might be onto something.
Maybe. I
don't know.
Maybe. It's confusing. People get offended at different things. I can't, I don't know. I don't know why. All I know is if I'm a pitcher and a guy gets to second base and he starts doing a TikTok dance, I am going to be pretty mad. But I'll mostly be mad at myself for giving up a double to the guy who does a TikTok dance when he gets to second base.
That's what this boils down to, right?
Yeah, I'm mostly mad at me.
Yeah.
And you take your frustration out in different areas. All right, so here we are, Josh. Let's talk about our sweet, sweet, sweet baby boy, Josh Allen.
All right.
Long
This
locks
should be
of
interesting.
hair. Are you a lover of Josh Allen as much as I am a lover of Josh Allen?
Now, complicated relationship because coming out of college, I was like, why is everyone enamored with this guy?
Yeah, I thought he was a bust too.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be a bust too.
He went to Wyoming and didn't win anything there.
He's clearly not.
Correct.
Clearly not.
Now I have reached a point where I am rooting for this human being because he is
now
climbing an uphill battle, right?
This is why this topic comes up, because I've seen a lot of over the last 48 hours, people talking about Josh Allen as if he has done something wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can't get over this hump, so he must be the problem. The Bills choked. He choked. Did what happened in that game? Was that the Bills choking? Was that Josh Allen choking? Now, there has been a lot of discourse about the fourth down play and the ball that he threw to Dalton Kincaid and who he should have thrown it to. The dots. You know, if I'm Josh Allen, I simply throw it to the open guy.
Right. Have you tried that? It is not enough to be the reason your team doesn't lose. You are the core. I know it's confusing. You have to be the quarterback who ensures your team wins. You have to be the reason your team wins, not the reason they don't lose.
And that is definitely the case with Josh Allen because he is now in this position where they have to take it from Patrick Mahomes. They're clearly not going to give it to you.
That game would have been a rout by Kansas City if Josh Allen was not the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. That game was teetering multiple times on blowout, and Josh Allen was like, I'm gonna do some hero ball right now.
So yeah, and that's the other thing. And we could even boil it down to that play. Let's say that pass gets caught by Dalton Kincaid.
The fourth down?
Yes.
Okay.
The one that Dalton Kincaid should have caught.
Yes.
And they go down, and no, there's still some work to do, but right, they go, let's say they go down and score and win. But the hard part, they've converted the fourth down. That is all of a sudden one of the most clutch playoff plays of all time. Dethroning the Kansas City Chiefs and, taking them out of this stretch. And now we're asking all these questions about the Chiefs, and this is Josh Allen week. Instead, the conversation surrounding Josh Allen is now a little bit different. I wouldn't say that it's anything Josh Allen didn't do in that moment in time that led that pass to not be completed. In fact, I think he did a lot to complete the pass.
They would have been in Kansas City territory with 2 minutes to go, down 3.
So at least we're talking about overtime, but we know how overtimes work for Josh Allen against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not too good.
Not great.
And more so, while he is 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs, it's not like he's playing badly. In fact, he's playing incredibly. In those 4 games, all losses, he's thrown 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. He is averaging 260 yards passing per game. In the 2021 AFC title game, he had 88 yards rushing. In the 2022 divisional round game, he had 75 yards rushing. In the 2023 AFC divisional round game, he had 72 yards rushing. And the other night, he had 39 yards rushing. He is not playing poorly. He is playing incredibly well. And to think he would have the most incredible playoff, one of the most incredible playoff plays of all time, if Dalton Kincaid had just caught the damn ball, I mean, it's nuts to think about.
Somebody lined up Allen's stats and Mahomes' stats in their 4 playoff games against each other, and they're pretty much identical.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the case that Josh Allen has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in these games, but he's on the losing side every time. Dan Orlovsky had this stat yesterday.
Hi, Dan. In
playoff history, the teams that score 3 or more touchdowns in a turnover-free game are 140-19 ever in playoff history. All right. Get those numbers through your head. 140-19.
Okay.
Josh Allen is the only quarterback out of the 19 losses to have more than one of those 19 losses. He's the only quarterback on the list twice. And he is the only quarterback on the list 3 times. All 3 times against the Kansas City Chiefs, and all 3 times within the last 4 seasons. 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. 149-19 ever. Josh Allen has lost 3 times while playing those such games, all against the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Bills are the first team in NFL history to win a playoff game in 5 straight seasons and not reach the Super Bowl in any of them.
So, I was trying to think of, and this is where I want you guys to help us out a little bit. So you could text Dan at 951-1620, or you can call in, leave a comment. Is there a situation that you could think of that is a comp to this? And so I started by thinking about people like all-time greats, right? Because we can now put Mahomes in the category of like Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Tom Brady and guys who just went on insane championship runs for extended portions of their career. But one of the offshoots of that topic is that the players that they prevented from winning titles, they prevented winning titles from, right? So guys who showed up on that list.
I firmly think that's where we're at with Josh Allen. We're at the Patrick Ewing thing, the Charles Barkley thing, the Karl Malone thing, not that Karl Malone thing, the other Karl Malone thing. People forget.
But I'm thinking about so there was, first of all, in the NBA ones, there haven't been quite as I thought of Reggie. I thought of Reggie Miller with Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
They only had one playoff
series against each other.
I believe that's right.
Oh, okay.
And it was the 98 Eastern Conference Finals, and Reggie took them to 7, right? And played, but it's not like they were playing each other all the time. In the playoffs, right? The playoffs are big enough to where you could make your way. There's going to be different, and there was a lot of different teams in the Eastern Conference Finals during Bulls Jordan run. LeBron has changed conferences a couple times. He's run into a bunch. Now he's prevented a lot of people from winning championships, but it wasn't like we're gonna have to face off against X player every year, and then we're gonna find out who's better. Like James Harden, but James Harden in those matchups when he's been, when they've matched up in the conference finals or before the conference finals against LeBron's teams, like James Harden plays like crap in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not applicable in this situation. Reggie only got one real crack. It took him to Game 7 in the 98 Eastern Conference Finals. Harden plays like crap, so he's not a comp.
Wow.
And so then I went to Brady. And the main foil for Brady was Manning.
Eli or Peyton?
Peyton.
Okay.
Well, I guess you could do the one where Eli is Brady and Brady is Eli, but that's a different thing. Brady and Peyton Manning beat Brady more times in the playoffs than he lost to him. Peyton Manning was 3-2 against Tom Brady in the playoffs.
See, it's weird because the Patriots went like a decade without winning.
Yes, that's right. They allowed lots more room for other people to do stuff and win championships. Maybe like Phillip Rivers, but I wouldn't say that is Josh Allen Phillip Rivers?
He's better than Phillip Rivers, right?
I think he's better than Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers had a long, successful career with a lot of stats. But I wouldn't characterize what Josh Allen is doing right now to be like it's elevated. It's more than that. Marino.
Okay.
Marino played like crap in the playoffs. A lot.
Yeah.
I had the stat. Marino threw 32 touchdowns and 24 picks in his playoff career. 24 interceptions. He went to 1 Super Bowl. And obviously never won it. But it's not like he ran into a guy every single time. It was mostly just Marino. So like people are doing the Marino thing with him this week. I'm like, I don't think it's Marino. I don't think that's right. So I don't, and then you could do Jim Kelly, with the 4 straight Super Bowls with the Bills in the late 80s and early 90s. And in the last 2, it was Aikman, right? So there's maybe that. It's tough.
Is it the Lakers of the 60s before they burst through with like the Showtime gang? I don't know.
It is a tough comp. And I don't know what the answer is. But like, so Dan writes in, he says LeBron has never prevented Harden from going to the finals.
Yeah.
But like, what I'm saying is people who had these all-time great like stretches or runs and, ran into a guy. It's never been 1-to-1 like this because if Josh Allen wins one of these games, all of a sudden he is Mahomes. He is on the same, but nobody wants to put him in the Mahomes category because he can't win the games. And it's just him who's standing in the way. And I would argue in a lot of cases, he's been better than Mahomes in the actual games. And the NFL, you sort of keep it separate because quarterback, we do this with quarterbacks. Like it's a little bit different to do it with NBA and stars and stuff like that. So this is where I leave it open to you all. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
What about Iverson never lost to the same person over and over again.
Right. I get
wow. Great question you have posed here today for us.
Thank you, Josh. It's kind of what I'm looking for. And I'm going to leave it open-ended because I don't really know the answer to it. there was a lot of Charles Barkley,
Mm-hmm.
Who had a couple different, like we had Bird with him and then we had Michael, right? But that was a couple different things. Barkley's not bad. Karl Malone, like you said, Josh, not that Karl Malone thing, the other Karl Malone thing,
Yeah.
Magic with him. This is weird. This is weird. The territory that we're in right now is odd. I will say that with Josh Allen.
Unprecedented.
And like it or not, he has to win one or multiple to be viewed as a guy who could ever, be viable in those situations. And of course he would crush. Like he would, if you put Josh Allen in the Super Bowl next week, he would have done fine. It's like it's not a situation where you're wondering about how he's going to perform. He's going to be good. Although I was a little curious after the first drive.
Was
he seemed a little shaky, but he survived that, right? And then we add to it at the end of the game when they hold the still shot on his face, staring off into nothing, just no expression whatsoever, nothing at all.
I mean,
what am I supposed to do? How can I do this? How? And then you're thinking about, I assume if you're Josh Allen, you're thinking about, okay, we'll just have to do this again next year. But why would he think at this point that he's going to get any different result? Mm-hmm. Why would anybody think that that is what the Chiefs have done to the NFL? They have rendered other people, but particularly this one guy in this franchise, kind of hopeless. Because how would you?
It's a 1-game season every year.
How would you convince yourself that next year, when these two meet in the divisional round or in the AFC Championship game, that they're going to do it? I mean, how would you convince yourself?
You're saying to yourself, "Well, we got to get lucky. The game has to break right for us. It's not. Well, if we scheme this way or we scheme this, we attack their weakness, we can win. It's we got to get lucky."
And look at all the quarterbacks. Like right now, that we have a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL. Like we're going to have a bunch of, when this era is done, and who knows, eras sort of wave over each other, right? But like when we get through this era of these quarterbacks are around, 27 to 32 right now, like this group of guys. There's going to be a lot of guys who will have won no championships or would have never gotten past Patrick Mahomes one time. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a different case because Lamar doesn't really play well in the playoffs.
Right.
Right.
Like, I don't even think Josh Allen at this point needs to beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He just has to get to the Super Bowl now. Like, sure, that'll always be like, oh, he never beat Mahomes, but like, so he just has to get past.
But he will be discredited until he actually beats him. Until he actually beats Mahomes.
Do we discredit Stafford's ring because he didn't beat Mahomes? I mean, I know he doesn't have to go through.
See, that's
Mahomes. It's a little different.
I sort of view that as a different era, and of course, they're on opposite sides. I don't really view them in the same bucket.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't really view them in the same bucket, but I mean, it's a complicated one. Joel writes in.
Joel.
Maybe Elway in the first decade, but again, he didn't lose to the same team.
Yeah.
They have rendered, like, if there is a Chiefs, thing that you wanted to, if you're a Chiefs fan and you really wanted to puff out your chest, the appropriate comeback to people, or the thing that you use in an argument, is you're hopeless. Good luck. We'll see you in the playoffs. And you know what's going to happen when we get to the playoffs. You aren't going to win. The only person that could say it is Burrow. The only person that could say it is Burrow. because and then when you get to the Super Bowl, it doesn't really, doesn't really. I mean, he lost to Brady and what, like, well, who was the other Super Bowl that they lost? The Niners. They lose a Niners Super Bowl and win. There wasn't really anybody there
because he didn't have an O line that day.
Yeah, they scored like a point, something like that. I don't know. It's there's a lot.
I mean, the Raiders had a period in the 70s where they kept running into Terry Bradshaw.
Brian writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, I think the stats show that Allen is better than Mahomes. The supporting cast and or coaching staff is the difference. Kelsey or another Kansas City tight end makes that catch on fourth down. But like nobody, I don't think that's how we think about it. Maybe that is our like real resolution from this conversation. It's that the Chiefs deserve more credit for being the Chiefs and doing what the things that they're doing with their infrastructure and their coaching staff and how they just plug guys in. And it's just like, yeah, let's throw it to Samaje Perine with the game on the line. Great. Sounds like an awesome idea. And they've had, I mean, how many different running backs have they had in this era now? Like 9, guys that you're just like, yeah, sure. Damian Williams, let's go. Why not?
Let's bring back old guys.
Old Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
You're like, whatever it is. And Pacheco's in that, like they've had all these different guys, but it's Mahomes who's been around and it's Kelsey who's been around. But maybe the conversation should be more around, like, I'm not trying to discredit Mahomes, but
would never.
Really, it's the Chiefs. And I think that's kind of Brian's point. Mm-hmm. Maybe that should be the thing with them. It's like, yeah, they probably don't get enough credit because they have Mahomes and he feels like the eraser of everything else. But really, their eraser is their team, their infrastructure and their coach.
Not their owner.
And how they
he gets Fs.
Well, most owners get Fs, I think. Jesse writes in.
Hi, Jesse.
So how bad do Bills fans despise the Chiefs? I don't even know, like, obviously you do, but I would be so disheartened after playing in that thing 4 times.
God,
it's like I can't even dislike. I kind of have to appreciate it a little bit. Pedro writes in.
Hi, Pedro.
What if Josh Allen goes to the Chiefs and gets a ring there? Does it count?
Kevin Durant.
He can play wide receiver for the Chiefs. Maybe he could be their next running back.
Yeah. Look, I like to run it more anyway, Pat. You can do the quarterback.
You do have to wonder at what point Josh Allen just gets pissed off and is like, I have to go to the NFC or something.
Mm-hmm. I have to get away from.
He can LeBron it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have to go somewhere else.
You don't really see that in the NFL, but man, that's an easier path, right? Like, I know it's football. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah.
But there will never be a Mahomes in the NFC. Yeah. There's one Mahomes. And to the point from before, I guess there's one Chiefs, and they are not in the NFC.
At least then I could lose in the Super Bowl, and people would be like, well, Josh Allen got to 4 Super Bowls. He'd be Jim Kelly.
Which is maybe a better position than what he's in right now. But like I said, he's playing. He's universally respected as like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. And yet he can't get to the Super Bowl. And it feels, and the more he gets there, the further away it feels at this point until he does it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know if we're moving towards something here. I don't know if are we building toward beating the Chiefs in one of these games? They've had ample opportunities to do so in each of those games, and the Chiefs just make more plays. They just do more.
I think we sort of broached this yesterday, so I think I know what your answer to this question is going to be. At any point Sunday, did you think the Bills would win that game?
Like I always thought it was possible, but no, I was just like, no, I think the Chiefs are going to win this.
I never thought the Bills were going to win that game, even when they were winning that game.
Yeah. Well, so now what the Chiefs do is more of like it's a mental thing. Obviously they're really good. And like I said, their infrastructure is great. Their coach is great. Their quarterback is great, but they have had pieces fall off, and now you walk into these games against them. It's like, how are we going to beat these? Like you need like a really young team that doesn't carry that baggage anymore, like Burrow was a couple years ago.
Yeah, just too young and stupid.
Yeah,
and too good to know any better.
I guess.
Yeah,
I guess that's what you need, because it doesn't feel like the Bills are ever going to do it with Josh Allen.
mm-hmm.
Sorry,
sorry,
Bills fans.
Unless they find a way to move the money around, and it's like we're all in. We got 2 great corners. We got Josh Allen, a bona fide number 1 wide receiver, which like the money doesn't allow them to do that.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it. Brian follows up. He has a question for you.
Hi, Brian.
Would the Chiefs be even better with Josh Allen instead of Mahomes?
Oh, no, right? If Mahomes was on the Bills and Josh Allen was on the Chiefs, who would win? I guess then
I don't know if they'd be. I can't say definitively that they'd be better, but I feel like the Chiefs would win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there is a world where Mahomes is Allen and Allen is Mahomes and Finkel is Einhorn and Einhorn is Finkel. All right. Ponder on that one for a little while. Sobering stuff if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. I'm sorry. We're back with Allan Bell coming up on 1620 The Zone.
comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Allan Bell, the AB3, on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, joined now on the hotline by our good friend Allan Bell of Driving the Line. Hi, AB.
Hello, sir. How are we doing?
Very good. A week ago, as I was listening to you guys talk while I was setting things up in a arena in Chicago. So I enjoyed that conversation, but I'm glad to be back with you here today.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad that you are back. All right. In Chicago, I always like stopping at a Red Hot. All right. Go ahead and get me a dog and some other stuff. But it's good to have you back.
Good. All right. You always got something for every place, which is what I appreciate about you.
Yeah, it's usually food related and high calorie. So
there's nothing wrong with that. So one of the first days, in fact, I believe it was the first day that we proffered this idea that it would be the Bills and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was December 3rd, and we talked about it later in the show, but I bounced it off you first. I was like, hey, how about this idea that with all these really cool matchups that we could potentially get for the Super Bowl, we'll get the most boring outcome between the Eagles and the Chiefs. And if I remember correctly, as you usually are, you were right on board. You were like, yep, I think that's happening. So here we are, 6 weeks later, and it's Eagles Chiefs. And we are indeed not very excited about it seems.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, trust me. But you know what? These are the two best teams in the league.
Yeah,
I'm not against that. And we've also got really good storylines. The Chiefs are going for 3 straight. All right, they're going for history. The Eagles are going for redemption. I mean, I've seen worse. This is going to be a hell of a Super Bowl. And to Bills fans, let me just say this, and I'm speaking as a Tennessee fan. Life is miserable. As soon as something good happens, you get kicked in the face, all right? Ohio State did it to us. I hate it for Bills fans. I really do. But, maybe we need to start saying this about the Chiefs. Maybe they're good. Maybe they're well coached.
It's definitely the takeaway. Like we were just talking about. So I guess there's a couple questions off of that. First of all, what do we do with Josh Allen? I mean, all he does is play really well in these games, and yet ultimately at the end of the game, it's not him with the ball in his hands, and he is definitively one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best. But he can't win this game. What do we do with this as far as how we talk about Josh Allen?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I try to keep it simple, and I try to think of a comparison. So let me know if either of these two comparisons work. Reggie Miller or Charles Barkley.
Wow. Both guys that we mentioned, and we just had this conversation, both guys that we mentioned. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, yeah.
That's wild. He's really damn good. But you have the GOAT in front of you. You know what I mean? It sucks. I hate it, for Knicks fans that were stuck there and it's like, oh, great, we got to deal with the Bulls. Buddy, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to say it's not meant to be, but man, you're just going to have to go earn it.
Well, it's more disheartening than anything else, because I feel like every time it happens now, we get further away from him and the Bills or Josh Allen or however you want to put it. We get further away from them actually winning it, because every time it happens, we create more baggage until it happens. And I don't know when that might be.
Yeah. And again, here's the weird part too, is that even with this game of the Bills and the Chiefs, usually the number 1 seed playing at home in an AFC championship, that's the team with the pressure. But it's the opposite. It's the Bills that have the pressure. Yeah. And that pressure is going to continue as long as, as many times as we get this. Windows are short in the NFL, but, I don't want to count them out. They're not going anywhere, but my goodness, man, it's just, I think even Chiefs fans were probably not that they were rooting to lose by any means, which obviously you shouldn't, but Josh Allen's a likable guy. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, this guy, he can't catch a break. You know what I mean? But, hey, sorry about your luck. Let me say this. Andy Reid and the Chiefs had a playoff quarterback and team in Alex Smith when they made the risk to trade up in the draft to take Patrick Mahomes. Like, they took the risk to do that, and it paid off. So, sorry about your luck, the rest of the NFL. Like, they put it all on the table. They put the chips out there, and they won that bet.
I'm trying to think of a gambling equivalent to what they did and what you just described. It's like, yeah, I'm having a pretty good night at the casino, but let's risk it all and try and hit this jackpot. And then the jackpot actually hits, which, as well as I do, that never works. That never, ever works. And it worked for the Chiefs.
And it absolutely did. It's like, honey, go get the title in the glove box. Bring it on in here. You know what I mean? And it's like you left, like, leave the car. We don't need it. Like, I give them the absolute most credit in the world, man. Like, they took that risk, and it paid off. Paid off big.
Early look here at the Super Bowl. I know you've been profiting off of a lot of unders, I think, this year. So when you look at 49.5 or the Chiefs by 1.5 or anything in between, like, what do you like on the board?
Yeah, it's hard to bet the under because both of these teams, even though they're both great defenses, like, I feel like these are two teams that
as much as I was super in on the narrative of this being like a low scoring crappy game, it does feel like an over to me.
It does. It feels like it's going to be a shootout and it's going to be awesome. Like, I really am excited for the game. And I mean, you've got two teams offensively that do things differently, but they're both magic, man. And it's going to be so much fun. Saquon Barkley, Patrick Mahomes, like, dude, come on. Like, we're not even talking about Taylor Swift, which is good.
Yeah,
like,
great.
We got a damn game here, man. Like, I can't wait to see it. And look, you have an Eagles coach. Let me say this. I thought he was kind of a weirdo, earlier in the year. But now I look back, like, the fans were chanting to boo him. He turned around and gave it right back to him. It's like, any of y'all want to hop that barrier, come on down. If you think you're tough. And it's worked. Like, I dig this guy, man. And then you got Andy Reid, who's the winningest coach in both franchise histories, which is crazy. Like, it's going to be a great game. Like, I'm all in on the overs. I'll say this: Patrick Mahomes' rush attempts at 6.5. Just take the over. Like, he's going to have to run the football. It's going to take.
Well, we saw that a lot in the AFC Championship game. And then I look on the list, and he's plus 440 as an anytime touchdown scorer. And I look at that and I say, man, I feel like he should be higher up the list than that.
Dude, it was crazy because Patrick Mahomes, I think those were his first rushing touchdowns all year.
Yeah.
Like, he really didn't run the football much at all. And then, as the season goes, you have guys that get banged up and you just do what you have to do. And you've got two just absolute warrior type quarterbacks in this. Jalen Hurts been dealing with his own injuries, but he's going to show up, right? Like, it is going to be, it's also going to be a coaching battle. Like, we're going to see a chess match here because you got all kinds of great stuff going on. Like, we talk about Andy Reid, but dude, Spags, what he's doing on defense is incredible, man. Like, this is going to be one hell of a game, man. I really do think.
I'm with you. Thank you for saying that. Because I've been a bit negative over the last 48 hours. Just I'm sick of it. I don't. We just saw this, and we kind of know how it's going to go. We know all the players and the people, and the storylines are very similar. But no, you're right. These have been the two best teams all year, whether it looks like aesthetically pleasing or not.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. You want a nice, fun stat of the day for you?
Please.
So you remember when the Titans traded A.J. Brown, which was the end of the Vrabel Titans franchise? Like, that was the end. Okay, so they traded him for draft pick, and we got Treylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas. You want to know a fun stat?
Please.
Since that trade, A.J. Brown has now been to more Super Bowls than Treylon Burks has receiving touchdown. Great trade.
Nice job.
Yeah, that's why that GM's on LinkedIn right now.
Great job by the Titans, as always.
Always a great, smart decision.
AB, I can't wait to break this down and get a whole bunch more with you next week on the Super Bowl. Appreciate you joining us, as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, buddy, look forward to it, man. Y'all be good. Take care.
Allan Bell, Driving the Line. You can check out his stuff there. And just because there's no football game this weekend doesn't mean that Allan will be up to something. He'll be cooking.
Oh, he's in the lab. He's cooking.
He's in the lab, whether it's for this game or college basketball or hell, Allan's wheelhouse is starting up in just like 3 weeks now.
College baseball.
Early season college baseball junk. By the way, if we are to fully go in on this, Josh, which is what we said on December 3rd, a 17-13 Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to play, and I didn't pick a winner that day, but let's just say it's the Chiefs. Plus 29,000 right now.
Oh.
So that would be $100 to win $29,000. $10 to win $2,900. If you're interested in dollars and prophecies.
I am interested in dollars.
That's good to hear.
Poll question: are you interested in dollars?
Get that one up. At Happer Show on the JTech Instructions on Twitter feed. But coming up next, Josh has the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, time for the odd news. Quickly, some good news.
Good news. I love good news.
Here from our friends from Creighton. This year's Pink Out Games put the 15-year total raised over $1 million, and the final total of this year from the jersey auction, combined men's and women's jersey auction, $124,000. And it's never too late to donate. Cancer.org/pinkout. That's a good year.
Good job, everybody.
Good job, everybody. $1 million in 15 years.
Our bar for next year is set.
Yep. Now we just have to do $1 million in 1 year.
Oh,
that's the next thing up. I can't believe it.
I can't believe.
That's what I would say if you guys do that next year. All right, Josh, odd news. What do we got?
Well, I have a pair of stories from yesterday's Duke North Carolina State game.
Oh, I know about one of them.
First of all, we'll get to that one.
All right.
Second one, the first one, the game did not start on ESPN.
Because? I know. Rothstein was pissed about this.
Yeah, golf went to overtime, which is apparently something golf can do.
I never did my simulator golf take because that's what this was.
Yes.
The TGL, whatever.
It was.
What incentive do I have to watch simulator golf?
It was Tiger versus Rory.
On a simulator.
Tiger versus
Rory.
Oh,
cool. You built a nice building that could have bunker shots from inside of a room. I don't know. Congratulations on your nice simulator. Sorry, it doesn't really impress me.
The term boondoggle comes to mind for this ESPN.
It's a bit of a boondoggle.
Monday's game between ACC rivals Duke and North Carolina State, featuring the sport's probably biggest known commodity, Cooper Flag.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, certainly in the conversation. Right?
Yeah, right behind Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Of course, we're biased though. It did not start on
and
ESPN,
Jawan Gary,
but viewers may have been surprised when they turned to ESPN to find Tiger Woods and Rory hitting balls at a screen on TGL, forcing Duke NC State to start on ESPNU. John Rothstein, the CBS Sports college basketball reporter,
yes,
not pleased. Quote on Twitter, "I've never played golf." He also added, I've never drank wine. I've never done this. I've never done
he
that.
has his bit.
So why is it on my TV instead of Duke NC State? Inconceivable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I kind of agree with him.
Hey, so I saw this tweet from over the weekend, and I'm glad you brought up golf because I can't imagine well, I guess Waste Management is next week, I think.
Hello.
So we might talk about golf then. But Kyle Porter, he does many golf tweets.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
The PGA Tour has a lot of problems right now. Foremost among them might be that it's a lot more fun and entertaining to watch your favorite YouTubers play fascinating courses for 40 minutes than it is to watch Andrew Novak and Sam Stevens duke it out at Torrey for 400 minutes. And what I would say to that,
great take, I think.
Well, maybe it is for you, but it's different audiences. If you were never the person who's going to sit around and watch golf on Sunday afternoon or Friday, whatever, then you're just not. And frankly, I don't think there is that big of an audience for people to watch those no-namers, rip off nice shots at Torrey on a Thursday afternoon. It's not for many people.
I'm only tuning into the Sunday majors if it's close and there are famous people at the top of the leaderboard.
That's a lot of qualifiers.
Right.
And so it's not more fun for me to watch random YouTube guys hit cool shots for 25 minutes in an edited video. I'll watch the clips or whatever, just like I watch the clips of regular guys shooting regular golf shots. But that just seems like we're pigeonholing a different argument into that thing. It's yes, everybody's attention span is shorter these days.
I like watching basketball games more than I like watching Dude Perfect.
Golf doesn't have to make Great take.
Yeah.
Golf doesn't have to, and that's just kind of what they're doing with this simulator golf thing. Like, how do we make it fun and more exciting and shorter, time spans?
Tiger.
They don't have to. They don't. I don't know. That just feels like they're trying too hard for something that's just not going to be there. It's just not going. How do we make golf 10 minutes? You don't. You don't. If you don't like golf, then you're not watching golf.
They're wringing the last of the dollars and the eyeballs out of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess so.
That's what this is.
Yeah. Let's find things that he can do.
Because he can't walk.
Because he can't do anything else. Yeah.
Another development during the Duke NC State game was Connor, you're going to have to help me with your PA skills.
Oh, I don't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Duke men's basketball, and it says star after that. I'm going to beg to differ. Common Maluak. He plays for Duke. He didn't have a turnover Monday, but his stomach did, as he threw up all over the floor of Cameron Indoor. The gross moment happened with about 4.5 minutes left in the contest, as Duke was trying to extend its 63-62 lead.
Come on, maybe?
Come on.
Come on.
Basketball guys are ripping me right now. I don't care. Maluak was down in the low post waiting to make a play when suddenly he emptied the contents of his stomach right underneath the basket.
Which led Josh to do the tweet.
Normalize puking at work.
It's funny every time.
It's totally normal.
It's one of your best bits.
It happens. These things happen.
You at least had the great fortune of not spewing it on camera everywhere.
I made no...
You went in the trash can and you went quietly and off camera.
In a trash can, off camera.
All we saw was your butt hunched over.
That's okay.
That's fine.
It's a tiny butt.
Some people aren't afforded those opportunities, Josh.
No. Some people's jobs have more cameras on them. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, no. Yep, that's right. Be careful what you wish for.
Finally, PETA is back to attack yet another American tradition that we know and love.
Good.
This time, they want you to be aware that Groundhog Day is a brutal and rude holiday and should not be celebrated by anyone.
Not surprising.
Normally, PETA just complains that we're doing the thing. They don't offer solutions, and that's a lot of people's problem with PETA. This time, they have offered a solution. A vegan weather reveal cake instead of a groundhog. PETA has proposed in a news release, of course.
They have to be in on this. They have to be in on this.
I have interviewed people from PETA, and
what's the most lib thing we could possibly say?
They are a little bit in on the bit. They know if they make it funny enough, people will talk about it, and that's really all they want.
You got it.
PETA will deliver a delicious weather reveal vegan cake each Groundhog Day in perpetuity if the Puxatawny Groundhog Club agrees to let Puxatawny Phil retire to an animal sanctuary.
I got bad news.
Have you seen those people?
They're going to keep trotting at that groundhog like he's...
That's all they got.
I don't know.
They live for that one day they can dust off their top hat and
that's right.
pea coats. PETA also published a letter to the Groundhog Club arguing the animal duties are no piece of cake for Phil.
No.
You see, lots of puns. What do we think of
Thank
this?
you, PETA.
Thank
as
you.
always.
You're
and
the
Josh,
best, PETA.
thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
That's the odd news. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
he does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. An email from the Equitable Bank inbox.
Oh, okay.
From John.
Hi, John.
Subject line, PETA. PETA, have you ever eaten groundhog? Put it in a slow cooker with some potatoes, carrots, and onions, and it's delicious.
No.
Would you eat a groundhog?
We're not that guy from the Texans who was eating raccoon on Thanksgiving.
No, that was Xavier Leggett, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he talking about eating raccoon?
Yeah.
Or something, whatever it was. If you bread it and fry it.
Sorry, Panthers, not Texans.
Yeah. Yeah. If you bread it and fry it, it's got a chance. That's what I always say, Josh. If you bread it and fry it, you got a chance. I never thought that I would like a bull testicle, but here I am, breaded and fried.
This is going to get misconstrued, but
I'll eat anything.
I think you're right.
You're cautiously subscribing to this take?
Yeah, yes.
I'd try a groundhog nugget.
Poll question?
If it was allowed, which I assume, I don't know. PETA probably wouldn't like it.
Hey, look, if you catch it, you can do whatever you want with it, right?
Mm-hmm. That's actually probably not true.
Probably not, no. Now that I think about it, no.
So, yeah, sit on that one for a little while. Maybe you'd enjoy a groundhog McNugget.
A dipping sauce to where you can alter the flavor of the meat to whatever the dipping sauce is.
Yeah, it's all the same. Oh, an email from Keith.
Hi, Keith.
Keith sends a press release from the University of Nebraska. Guess what, Josh?
Oh, okay.
The long national nightmare is over. Matt Rule will speak on Saturday morning with the local media.
Oh, put the white smoke out. Here we go.
Yeah, he's got some things to say. He will be asked, hey, who's going to be your special teams coordinator? You got a plan there yet? What's Ed Foley doing?
Is this just general availability? Why isn't your offensive coordinator the highest paid offensive coach on your staff?
Oh, he is. He just gets paid half of his salary from a different school.
Okay.
Important.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to remember that in these times. Yep. Saturday morning at 10, which means we'll have fresh Matt Rule stuff to talk about on Monday on the show. Indeed.
Get some groundhog nuggets and some Matt Rule nuggets.
Yep. Why not? One more thing before we get to the thing that we're actually going to talk about here. The Bills-Chiefs championship game averaged 57.7 million viewers. Dear Lord.
America, not tired of the Chiefs.
No. But most of America was hoping that
maybe this is the moment.
Like, so the theory still plays off of what we were talking about in the last hour. I don't think we're sick of this matchup. We're still waiting for Josh Allen to actually do it. But at what point do you reach the diminishing return stage? At what point do you get sick of watching him try? I feel physically ill for Josh Allen when he loses these games, and I don't know how much more I can take, and I don't even care about the Bills.
But it's a guaranteed close game.
It's a guaranteed close game, but how many more times would I sign up for it if I know what the result is going to be?
Yeah.
I know it's going to get I'm here for good games, but at a certain point, I got to be here for the results as well. 57.7 million viewers makes it the most watched AFC championship game back to 1988, at least 1988, according to John Oran of Puck. It's also the
every time
NFL's second most watched non-Super Bowl game on Fox, behind the 2009-10 Vikings Saints game, and it was up 4% from last year's Ravens Chiefs game. That was the AFC title game, but that game was in the early window. Last year, of course, you go with Chiefs Bills, you go with Mahomes, you go with Taylor Swift, you go with Josh Allen, and you get the lovely little 5:30 p.m. kickoff as well. That was a recipe for a big number, and indeed it did deliver. Nearly 60 million people. What's the Super Bowl going to do?
See, that's where I think Nick was wrong yesterday. He said, I think it's going to be a little
The Chiefs are still a
less.
draw, ladies and gentlemen.
Chiefs are still a draw. The Swifties are watching.
Mhm.
That's how you get your casuals. That's how you pop a big number.
Kendrick Lamar.
Mhm.
People are going to be
Kendrick
there for
Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
SZA.
Oh, SZA's in there?
Yeah.
I love SZA. Poll
You'll
question. Do you love SZA?
Okay. I can do
I'm
that.
sure people know what that is. Alex and Lincoln has another poll question. Poll question: if you catch it, can you do whatever with it? That is, I don't want to put that poll
You don't want
question.
that up there.
No, I don't
Okay.
want to put that poll
Okay.
question. Pedro writes in, Hi guys, Connor is eating the cats and the dogs in Omaha. He is eating the pets of the people that live here.
Joel, about 24 hours early for this, but I have an opinion.
Oh,
groundhog is the chicken of the soil.
What's the fish of the soil? Worms?
Gotta be, right?
I got worms.
Well, I mean, groundhogs burrow. Are moles the?
But that's
fish
the
of
soil. That's the soil part.
Yeah.
That's the soil part. What's the fish of the soil?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be worms.
Yeah. I got worms.
Or like little bugs, little grub. What do they eat on Lion King that, when they go in that log and they start fishing around for the grubs? Those always look so good to me. Josh, did you ever watch Lion King? It was like, damn, I want to eat those bugs.
No.
Really?
No, never.
You never thought that while watching Lion King Lion King came at a different time for you.
It did.
Lion King was like my childhood movie. Lion King,
9 or
Toy
10.
Story,
Yeah.
Toy Story. I was like, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie when they went in those when Timon and Pumbaa and Simba went in those logs and they found those bugs to eat. Those looked so good.
Did you have they had they were popsicles for the Lion King, and inside the popsicle were gummy bugs.
Yeah. That looks pretty good. Love that. What was your favorite part of Lion King then? Probably when Mufasa died, you sicko.
No,
you
not
loved it.
my favorite
You
part.
loved it when Mufasa died.
We fast forward through that part at my house.
It is so sad.
Yeah, it's terrible. Gosh, what is my favorite part of probably all the times when they're singing I Just Can't Wait to Be King.
Great song.
And Zazu goes, not yet.
Yeah, that's a great one. We have a couple texts on the text line.
Okay.
Here's Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Just watched Lion King again with my son, and yes, those bugs looked so juicy.
They did.
Alex
look
and
juicy.
Lincoln. Good point, Connor. I wanted to eat those bugs
All
too.
right.
They made it seem so delicious.
This is going up on the poll.
That 100%.
When watching The Lion King,
Did you want to eat the bugs?
did you want to eat the bugs?
Well, do you want to be specific about which bug? Like
that
the
Timon
bugs
and,
that Timon and Pumbaa got out of that big log.
and Timon and Pumbaa ate.
That Timon and Pumbaa got out of that big log.
Got out of that big log.
Yep. Question mark. Yes or no? That's the poll question. It's going to be 75% yes.
It's going to be 75% yes.
Maybe more. People agree with me on this, Josh.
2 A's on the end of Pumbaa. People forget.
Many people are agreeing with me on this.
Really? Really, people?
Well,
they're bugs.
You know how slow people are to come to my side on arguing anything. Well, I just had immediate 2 yeses. Yes, love those bugs. Those bugs look so good. I want to eat those bugs.
All the completely normal food takes we give you on this station, and you say, "Oh my gosh, that's the worst food take ever." Connor goes, "You know what? Some bugs looked really delicious." And everyone's like, "Yep, that's great take. Great take, guys."
I speak for the common man, Josh. People see the same things as I do. Pedro
That
writes
is up
it
on Happer Show.
Why do I picture Connor as a garbage pail kid? What does that even mean?
Garbage pail kids.
What's
were
a garbage pail kid?
Google it.
You
and
play
I'll
around in the
explain it.
garbage can?
No, they were a set of trading cards that they were. I mean, I guess at the time for children, they were like
this little thing is a
foul.
mascot is like a fat little kid.
Yeah, and it would be a trading card, and it would say like Dumpster Debbie, and it would be Debbie digging through a dumpster, and it would be like Rotten Egg Ronnie.
This is offensive.
That's what parents thought in the 80s.
There's this character called Dan Opener, and his stomach is full of horrendously disgusting food, and he has had a bloody can opener in his hand.
Yeah.
This is horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm not like that.
They were like, hey, this is Butt Rot Billy. And it would be a gross cartoon of somebody with stink lines all over his body.
All right. Okay. One more before we talk about Fred Hoiberg. I used to be an avid hunter, and years ago went to a wild game feed potluck. Someone brought pickled porcupine. It looked and smelled disgusting.
Pickled porcupine.
I pickle anything.
I mean, apparently.
You ever had a pickled asparagus? I snack on those all day. Those are good.
That sounds fine. I've never had it, but that sounds fine.
Deb writes in.
Hi, Deb.
Asks Survivor contestants if they want to eat the grubs from Lion King. Gross. Well, fortunately, our poll question probably won't be voted on by any Survivor contestants.
Should we tag Boston Rob in it? Friend of the show,
Our dear
Boston
friend,
Rob.
Boston Rob. Yeah.
One of the first friends of this show.
Kenneth says, I mess with pickled asparagus.
Poll question: do you mess with pickled asparagus?
All right, fire them up. I mean, we need it. We got some to backfill here on our quota in the back end of the month. All right. So I don't know what's wrong with you people. Coming off the conversation where I told people where I like to eat the bugs from Lion King. They did look so good. What's all this conversation about Fred Hoiberg getting fired all about?
People have lofty expectations for that basketball team
Why?
year in, year out, and I don't know why.
Why? We got a text earlier that accused us of sandbagging Nebraska basketball. I think it was from Jeff.
Yeah, he was like, I know you guys want to see Fred Hoiberg get fired, but why are you rooting for it on the air or something?
No, we're doing the opposite. Oh, I thought he was accusing us of saying, I know you guys want Fred to stay because he's bad, but I hope he does get fired.
Oh, maybe I misread the text.
No, that was it. I
Okay.
found it. I know you 1620, the Jays are rooting for it, but Fred isn't getting fired after this year, no matter how bad it gets. I completely agree.
I would agree. Now, asterisk, assuming they win one game before the end of the year.
I don't even know, man. Like, it would be a horrible look, but I just don't. I'm just not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this has to build over
Completely
multiple seasons. I just don't think it's a good idea. And then, of course, you would have to ask the question of what would you do? Are people falling over backwards to get the Nebraska basketball job? Also, there is still a lot of this season left to play out. It has fallen apart, but I don't think that what he's shown over the last 2 years, 3 years, I guess, should tell you that it's not like what he's shown over the last 2 years, 3 years should show you that it's not going to go completely off the rails this year, right? Like I don't think they're the type of team who's going to win 0 games the rest of the way. Maybe people think differently about it. Obviously, it's not in a great spot right now. But I think they'll find a way to find the right guys to play hard. If it really gets that bad, and Fred Hoiberg has to come out and be like, "Look, I just want 5 guys who can play hard."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you hear a coach say that, you know you're bleeped. When football coaches say that, you know you're bleeped. You're like, "Look, we're just tearing everything down to the studs. I just want 11 guys who play hard. That's all." Like when you hear a coach say that, you're screwed for the season. But if you get to that point, it's like your safety net of, okay, our culture actually matters here. Our culture actually means something. And I don't think we're there yet. And I think, frankly, I would stump for him if it goes the way it's looking like it's going to go right now for him to get an opportunity to figure it out, because I think he's shown over the last few years that he's capable and sort of knows what it takes. It doesn't leave out the question of why has it happened this year. That's a question that we need to dive into, and maybe we could find out more about with Jacob Bigelow coming up in just a little while here. Like, you still have to answer those questions. Why did it happen? And how do we prevent it from happening again? But even if it does, and it goes really, really bad, I think I would trust him that he would have the, he would be able to diagnose, okay, what went wrong here and what am I never doing again that happened on this team? Or would he say, man, I just thought we got on a bad skid and it just worked out. It just worked out poorly. I don't know. But like, I'm just not there yet with Fred Hoiberg, guys. Sorry.
Aside from this season, which is yet to be concluded.
Correct. Not over.
He has improved on his overall record year in, year out. Understanding that will probably not be the case this season. They probably will not win 23 games this year. I don't know if they mathematically can win 23 games.
Let's see. They have 12 right now. How many do they have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're going to go to the Big Ten tournament if you win all those games.
Okay.
You'd probably go to the NCAA tournament if you win all those games, by the way.
Seems unlikely that they will win 23 games this year, but
I would call it unlikely, yes.
It is mathematically possible.
Yeah.
But so I don't think you would pull the rug out from under somebody who, while he's not, one of our own, quote unquote, he is one of our own. Like, he gets a little longer leash because, his dad and, his home, he gets the hometown guy moniker, even though he's not.
It was getting,
hometown guy,
I'll tell you what,
right?
It was getting close after those first 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're building toward, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here. And then they course corrected, but we always knew what they course corrected to is not necessarily the highest ceiling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're going to build to the point where they win 28 games and they're a Big Ten championship contender. Like, is anybody disillusioned about that? Like,
I wouldn't think so.
Even when they were, excuse me, when they were starting the process of like, okay, we need to probably, you didn't say this out loud, but it was like what they were effectively doing was cutting down their ceiling and raising their floor exponentially. When you cut down your ceiling, what happens? Your dreams of winning national championships and having top 5 recruiting classes and whatever, like they go away because you're taking out some of that in favor of experience, in favor of culture, in favor of leadership, like all of those things. And not that the two are necessarily mutually exclusive, but you're one of the best teams in the country if you have all of it. If you have talent and all the things that I just mentioned.
God, I can't find the stat, but someone had it. God, I can't find it anymore. Since Fred molded his own roster, let's put it that way, the record is fairly decent, even though.
Yeah, Matt mentioned on the crossover this morning, he still has a chance to have the best 3-year run out of one of the best 3-year runs out of any Husker coach. Like,
yeah.
Yes, but I'm not like, I know people get real frustrated when we talk about, oh, well, you can't expect it because this is what Nebraska basketball has always been. And like, I do think there is a little bit of credence that we can lend to that, but let's just take that out of the conversation. Let's take whatever lack of history Nebraska basketball has out. The way that they're trying to build this right now lacks this, and what people get so infatuated about and what people loved about Fred right at the start was that the ceiling is the roof. The ceiling is everything. Like, the ceiling is far, far, far beyond wherever we've been.
Why don't they just make the program out of the ceiling?
Right. But like, you're selling a dream.
Uh-huh.
they're not selling a dream anymore. They're trying to be a consistent, capable, functional basketball team.
Just ratchet it up just a little bit every year. That's what they're trying to do.
Right. But
they're not trying to, go from 7 wins to 7 losses in 1 year.
Yeah. And so what you're looking at is a 500 season. If you're telling me in a let's see, in a 4-year span, let me make sure I get this right. If you're telling me in a 3-year span, I guess you go 500, you go to the NCAA tournament, and then you go 500 again. Is that a reasonable floor for your program?
I think that's fair.
I'm totally fine with that.
A holiday tournament win in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't do much.
It's not a super prestigious one, but
no.
You did get invited. You did go. You did win it.
Yeah, I don't think that really means anything. But
okay. I'm trying here.
Yeah, 500. Go to the NCAA tournament. 500. Let's say you expand that out over 6 years. 2, 3, 4 NCAA tournaments and a couple 500 seasons. 3. Half 500 seasons and half. You find a way to get to the NCAA tournament. And that a lot of people around the country would love to have that.
Yeah, he had back-to-back 7-win seasons when he started.
But maybe that's the issue. Like when I see people talking about how they want to fire him or whatever, you're thinking about what he was at Iowa State. And it's like, man, they could go to the Final Four. You just let that dream die. Sorry.
Yeah, probably not going to be Ohio State.
The way that they're operating does not lend itself to being one of the best teams in the country at the end of the year. It's just not going to be that. The way they're trying to build it is to be competitive in the Big Ten, and to ultimately lean on that experience and the culture and the leadership, and hopefully you find enough 3-point shooters and enough defense and all the stuff in between to be able to win 20 games and go to the NCAA tournament. That is a fine place to be. That is a fine place to be. And I'm not just talking about for Nebraska basketball and their history. I'm talking about for everybody.
Yeah.
That's a good place to be. There is nothing wrong with that. And this year it looks like they're going to fall short of that. But that's okay. You can do that for a year. You could do that for 2 years. And so, I just don't want people to get so far bent out of shape that they, say irrational things. Don't say irrational things. Says the person who loves to eat the bugs from Lion King.
We need to get New Mexico State's coach in here because he could really build it up.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
What are you? It's not who you're gonna get. I'm not saying that, but
no, that's real. That's real.
You've got a good ball knower at the helm of this thing.
From the text line, Doc.
What's up, Doc?
My biggest complaint about Hoiberg is he cannot build a consistent team. I understand it's the new age of college basketball, but he's legitimately flipping the entire roster every single year, and it hasn't worked after 7 years.
Entire roster.
Okay. He's flipping the entire roster. That's not necessarily true. They've had core pieces come back now each of the last 3 years, and that comes in waves. Once again, in college basketball, it's more 2-year cycles than 4. It's hard to keep guys for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, it hasn't worked. I mean, I'm willing to forget about the first 3 years. I'm willing to just throw. I'm willing to just throw them away because what that was is now dead. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not a part of who they are. So they went to the NCAA tournament last year, and they went 500 the year before that, and they will probably go better than 500, if not 500 this year. I don't see how that's not working.
We do
that,
often
that is
talk
kind
about
of working.
The odd roster construction, this year they're doing it all without a true point guard. Last year it was they don't have all the pieces, but the pieces they have are working.
Sometimes you're at the mercy of what you get when you build the team that way, or what is available for you when you build a team that way. And yeah, it's harder to do, but once again, they're sacrificing And hopefully, like, the dream is you have a connection with a guy in the portal who is going to be here for multiple years, and you could convince him if he comes into the program that he's going to be a much, much better version of himself at the end of it, like when he leaves, right? And they haven't, like, it's early on in the process to where they haven't, like, that hasn't happened yet, right? So they're in the kind of 1 year, let's piece it together stage right now. And the floor is a lot higher than it was. If you, like, I know when you sell a coach at the beginning of the tenure and you say, like, it would cut the coach's legs off if the coach said, you know what we're going to do here? We're going to raise the floor.
Sure.
Like, nobody would say that.
Nobody's signing up for that.
But would you take it?
Yeah, I would say so. Now, what if the floor comes out on this season and they don't make the conference tournament? That's bad.
That's bad. You can't do it twice in a row, probably. Right?
I don't think his head is in the noose so greatly that one embarrassing finish is going to let the floor fall out.
Sam writes in. He says, way lower level of success, but look what happened to Indiana after they fired Crane 2 years after they went to the Sweet 16. Yeah, you get a little hungry and you think that there's just better stuff out there because you've seen the guy that you've been on for a long time and you're like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I totally get that as a natural, like, inclination for people, but let's chill. And for the record, I don't know, like, how much this is out there of people, like, banging the table of, like, we have to fire him, but I see it and I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
There's grumblings.
I see it on, like, a message board or whatever. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? It just wouldn't make sense. Wouldn't be prudent. Josh?
Trust me, I would be in that camp if it was worth being in that camp. And it's not.
Strigori.
Hi, Strigori.
Writes in 500 this year. They're not going to make the conference tournament. But they might. I do think they're going to make the conference tournament. I think they're going to finish in the top 15 in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Personally.
Also,
I know it seems bad right now. I'll get to the other comment in a second.
Okay.
And yeah, like, Ken Palm projects them to go 17-14.
That's over 500.
It is. And then the other comment was, are you kidding me? He's paid in the top 20, and being the conference doormat is apparently fine with the Creighton employees. I don't think they're the worst team in the Big Ten, nor do I think they're really close to the bottom from an infrastructure perspective. I just don't think that.
Odd to be clamoring for natties when you might not make the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Incremental success is a real thing.
Top 20 is the going, like, if top 20 is the going rate for a Big Ten basketball coach, you go with that guy for a little while. I'm sorry, I know that's not what people want to hear, but I'm just I don't have the firing itch, as I said earlier in the crossover.
Just go get Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
Just go get Jay Wright off of the TV studio.
Quick fixes are tough, man.
Pull Jay Wright out of there.
And then that's when you get into the Nebraska basketball history stuff. Like, when has a quick fix ever worked? I mean, we thought Hoiberg was going to do it right away, and then he had to change completely how he did it, how he did his business.
He had a guy doing it for him.
That was bad. That did not work. The guy who I bumped into recently. Yeah. He's on the he's helping out St. John's.
Oh, that tracks.
He's helping out with their NIL. And he came on the road. He came out with them on the road trip. I bumped into him on the at the Creighton game on New Year's Eve. Nice guy.
I'm sure he is.
To me anyway. Yeah.
Mike also good addition. Connor also a UNL employee.
People forget. Thank you for mentioning that, Mike. All right. We'll get to a couple more comments on that on the other side, if you guys would like to. But also college basketball reaction, overreaction. That's a thing, Josh.
I'm excited for this.
I'm glad you are.
Oh.
No, I am. I am, but I always have a tough time convincing people that college basketball is good.
We can't let the writers sit on the couch
That's
until
right.
baseball gets
Those guys
going.
are on the payroll, so
Yeah.
we got to do this thing. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. I pull questions up at Happer Show. When watching The Lion King, did you want to eat the bugs that Timon and Pumbaa got out of that big log? Do you mess with pickled asparagus? Do you love SZA? Would you eat a groundhog? And are you interested in dollars?
Good batch of polls today.
I think so too.
Excited to see how they come out.
Yeah, really. Who knows what else is going to happen in the final hour and a half ish.
At Happer Show.
Yeah, please tweet. All right, let's get some follow up from you all here on the Fred plight. Bullet Point Bob.
BPB.
Was wondering when we'd hear from Bullet Point Bob again. Jay's been pretty good lately. Bob's been quiet. But Bob claims to be a Jays fan, I think. Or maybe he has claimed that before.
Why did I think he was a Kansas fan?
I don't know. He likes talking about how McDermott actually isn't that good. Anyway.
Okay. So I didn't mean BPB. I didn't mean to put you in the Kansas.
Maybe
spot.
I'm wrong about that. He writes in, Conan. While Nebraska should sit tight on getting rid of Hoiberg at this point, the athletic department should maintain a ready posture in case anything can maybe fall into their lap. No high-level coach in good standing is going to look at the Nebraska job, but if something happens and a good coach comes available, like a Chris Beard situation, And Nebraska should be ready to extend an offer if they want to get serious about winning games. And then he mentioned Mac as a joke in there and said, I threw Coach Mac's name in so I could make a cheap joke. I don't consider him a high-level coach or one capable of turning Nebraska into a winning program. Bob, man, that crow must taste horrible. But he just continues to eat it. He just loves eating it. He's like, I don't care. I'm just going to keep saying Coach Mac is bad. It's not, flying in the face of all the evidence that has been presented over the years.
15 years worth.
Yeah. A lot of evidence that's good. And he's like, no, that's okay. What do you think about that? Ready posture. I think you're always on the lookout for the up and coming, like, the Bill Moose list of names in your top drawer.
If a guy you are keen on becomes available, yes, you probably should have an exploratory phone call.
Yeah. If there's anybody who is interested in that job, for sure. But it's not a particularly it's not a job that people are like, winning and trying to get to.
It's not a dream job.
Probably not. But I think that's another thing that Fred can do. Like, I don't know if Fred can turn it into a dream job, but like raising the floor goes a long way in the way your job is perceived. That's for sure.
Perhaps the next guy could raise it a little more.
John emails in.
Hi, John.
John, fire Fred?
Whoa.
I don't know. I can't get myself to care enough about Nebraska basketball to care who's coaching the team.
Did John
Fred, I don't care.
Did John care 6 weeks ago?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think John ever likes talking about basketball.
Okay.
Another tweet from Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Funniest outcome would be firing Fred only to hire newly fired Fran McCaffrey.
Oh, no.
So that's the next step. Go to the guy who keeps getting to the NCAA tournament, but keeps stinking in the NCAA tournament, right? You have a guy who's like trying to get to the NCAA tournament every year. Nope, get rid of him. Let's get the guy who gets to the NCAA tournament, but never wins in the NCAA tournament. We'll do that for 10, 15 years. Then what's the guy after that? He wins one game every year.
One game.
And then you get your Sweet 16 coach. By the time, by like 2070 or something like that, Nebraska's going to be like a perennial Sweet 16 Elite 8 time.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff. Hey, speaking of Fran, okay, so let's save the reaction for the final segment of the hour here.
Okay.
So let's talk about Fran for a second. Fran file.
Fran.
People are not happy about Fran in Iowa City.
Okay.
So I'm glad we can have these conversations back to back because it illustrates how different the situations are. So the Fran file is once again Iowa was, I would say, outclassed. Maybe would be a good way to put it. Last night against Ohio State.
Oh no.
They are a bit of a revolving door on defense. They stink at it.
Sure.
Especially when they don't have their big man in the game, Owen Freeman. And they're in a bit of a tailspin right now. They've lost 4 out of their last 5. They have a home game with Purdue coming up. Tonight. It doesn't, or actually that's a week from tonight. It doesn't get any easier for Iowa. And things have been trending not so great.
They're 0-5 on the road.
Oh, can't win road games. Interesting. Undoubtedly, Fran McCaffrey has raised the floor of Iowa basketball. He's had multiple National Players of the Year. He's in his 15th season. He was hired the same year that Mac was. He's made 7 NCAA tournaments. Has never been to the Sweet 16, though, and hasn't won a game in the NCAA tournament since 2021. And they were a 2 seed that year, and they lost to a 7 in the second round. Didn't make the Sweet 16. Ouch. It's a tough one, Josh. I'm sure it's one of those situations where if he walks away, maybe that's best for everybody. And in their case, there is a guy who would definitely be interested in that job, who is a definite good college basketball coach, and that would be Darian DeVries.
Yeah. Friend of the show.
Really?
You were in Pittsburgh. I talked to him.
Oh, he did come on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure he's been a friend of many of shows on 1620 The Zone over the years.
Sure.
But yes, I was like, wow, this show. Yeah, that's right, Josh. Thank you for talking to D-Rock.
Someone had to do it.
Somebody had to do it. So, the Fran file, as I've presented some evidence, if they tailspin, bottom out at the end of this year, what do you do? Like I said, maybe it's best for all if he just walks away. It's like, yeah, I think I've plateaued here. I'm sick of yelling at refs.
I'm 65.
By the way, you don't see nearly as much of that anymore. I haven't seen the FranCon meter in a long time. I don't see the blowups. He had the stare off with Kelly Pfeiffer. What was that, a couple years ago?
That's right. Yeah.
Not much angry Fran. Although I do see him a lot. They make him wear this giant yellow quarter zip and then he looks like Big Bird. And that's sort of odd. But Iowa fans are definitely feeling a lot like they do with Kirk, which is,
that's got to be weird.
I like this a lot. I like winning, but I am ready indeed to see what's on the other side of that curtain, whether it be bad or good. Hopefully it's good, knowing that it'll be bad, but it is indeed time to roll the dice again. I would imagine that's generally how they're thinking.
Especially if there's an exciting candidate on the other side.
He is exciting.
And
he loves Iowa.
Bring a jolt.
So, yeah. All right, we've presented the Fran file.
I say do it.
Fire him? Can him?
I mean,
sack him?
I think you gotta frame it a little differently than that. Like,
you gone. Thanks for nothing.
Would you like to retire?
Yeah.
We'll name something after you. Oh, you're gonna name the court after me? No, we said
we did
something.
that for Caitlin Clark.
We said something.
No, they just put that mark on the court for Caitlin Clark.
That's right.
Although that's got to be the whole Caitlin Clark court one day, right?
Probably
pretty soon.
What about the Fran McCaffrey cafeteria?
There you go. Concession stand.
The McCaff. That's what we'll call it.
Nice. Too close to McCafe, but I like it. All right. Now we'll do college basketball reaction over reaction. Next on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Hey, they got some Senior Bowl stuff on NFL Network right now. They're talking to the person who won the Canadian Heisman this year, Taylor Elgersma.
Guy's a gamer.
Yeah. The Canadian Heisman.
First team All-Canadian. It's like an All-American, but in Canada.
But it's all Canadian. Super interesting. That's cool. But I wish him good luck. Maybe he'll go in the first round. Maybe he'll be the next quarterback of the Tennessee Titans.
Just takes one GM to fall in love with him.
That's right. And then all of a sudden people start wondering if they should draft the guy that they've never heard of. All right. College basketball reaction overreaction. It is the maiden voyage, Josh.
First of many.
We've been talking about college basketball for a long time on this show today, and I like it. And we're going to keep talking about college basketball when Bigelow joins us in 10 minutes.
Some would say basketball greater than football.
So this is a trial run because we have no idea if the writers know ball or not. But we have to find out. So what have they come up with, Josh?
Take number one. The top three in the SEC are better than any other conference's top three.
Okay. Writers, that seems like an obvious yes, right? So the SEC
reaction.
The SEC has, I mean, you could put any 3 out of 5 or 6 in the SEC in the top 3, but let's just say it's Auburn, Alabama, and you could put Tennessee there. You could put Kentucky there. Maybe you could put Florida there. Let's just say Florida. Okay, let's put those 3 up against the Big Ten's top 3. Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan? Illinois?
It doesn't matter.
I mean, come on, hear them out, Josh.
Pick 3, and I'll tell you the SEC's better.
Okay, fine. I will give you each of the conference's best 3, and we'll see how they match up. The ACC's best 3. Duke. That might be the best team in the country.
Very good team.
Louisville, Clemson. Louisville, pretty good.
SEC.
All right. Big 12.
Ooh, okay.
Iowa State. Houston. Kansas.
That's a pretty good 3.
It's attractive.
Clones lost last night, though. Didn't look great in overtime.
Big East. Marquette, St. John's, Creighton, or UConn. Whatever you prefer. Apparently the AP prefers UConn, even though they love losing to Creighton.
Sneaky good top 3. I don't know if it's better than the SEC's 3.
Mountain West. We know how good the Mountain West is, Josh.
Yes, we do.
New Mexico, Utah State, San Diego State. That's a lot of wins. That's a lot of wins.
It's a lot of wins, but against who or whom?
I'll even throw you the WCC.
Whoa.
Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and then who? But people forget that the West Coast Conference has Oregon State this year.
That's
Oregon
right.
State, Wayne Tinkle time.
Tinkle time.
Wayne Tinkle time.
No, I'm going to go SEC as well.
All right. That's an appropriate reaction then.
Okay. Am I wrong? Have I missed something?
No, actually, I think
Okay.
I think you're right. But it guarantees you not a national championship.
Very true.
People forget that. The SEC and the NCAA tournament is like the SEC in bowl games.
Bad.
Next.
Cooper Flagg is the best player in the country.
Okay, what are the writers doing? Cooper Flagg is definitely the best player in the country, right?
I don't know. Creighton honk. Why don't you tell me why Ryan Kalkbrenner
It's not
so
Ryan
good?
Kalkbrenner. I'm not going to make an argument for Ryan Kalkbrenner.
I don't.
It's
This is the time of the year. I need some names.
Okay, how about can I interest you in Janai Broom?
The Broom Man.
Yeah, he's back, folks.
Sure.
We thought he was going to be dead for a while, but he's back. Can I interest you in Cam Jones?
He's 40 years old.
He's been at Marquette for a long time. Can I interest you in Braden Smith?
Who's leading Auburn?
Janai Broom.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, Josh, your Wooden Award vote is taken
I'm
away.
learning. It's the end of January. A lot of us are switching over to. I'm not alone in this, by the way.
Here's a name that you might know.
Not sure.
How about Eric Dixon? Another man who's been in college since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Okay. Still letting him play. Huh?
It's Cooper Flag. Okay, Riders, what are we doing here?
Step it up, guys.
Okay, where are they going next?
Bracket Busters should come back.
Oh, thank you. It's a topic that I feel passionately about. Absolutely.
I hope we're on the same side of history here.
The Bracket Busters should come back. If only there was a way where we could sort out who gets quality wins amongst mid-major teams later in the season when we're not sure going into the season how these mid-major teams are going to shake out. But Bracket Busters gave us an opportunity so we didn't have to guess. We just scheduled the game midstream. You have a Bracket Buster game, and here you go. Who wouldn't love a Drake versus McNeese State game?
Oh, sign me up.
Later in the season or in like mid-February. Who wouldn't love a Bradley versus Samford game on ESPN2 starting at 9:30 p.m.? Oh, I would love that. I still think Creighton should have a Bracket Buster game, even though they don't need it and it would hurt them immensely. But I loved those games. Those games were so much fun. Who wouldn't love a UC Irvine versus High Point, coast to coast battle? Maybe you could meet in the middle, like in Omaha, and then we get a bracket. Maybe we could host the Bracket Busters here.
Hello.
You go Creighton one night, Supernovas the next night, and Bracket Buster tournament the next night.
Give me VCU and Bradley and New Mexico versus St. Mary's.
Hell yeah. New Mexico, I don't think you get to play.
Oh.
I don't think they get to play.
Well, maybe I need to watch them.
How about Mike says, how about Omaha, St. Thomas, and Kansas City? The Summit League gets, now this is more like, that's like more low major territory, but yes, sorry, all due respect to the Summit League.
Mike was asking the Summit League's top 3 versus the SEC.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was talking about putting him in Bracket Buster. We can put Omaha in a Bracket Buster now.
Yeah, absolutely. He suggests Omaha versus Grand Canyon.
There you go. Grand Canyon. That's a good mid-major this year. Also, thank you. This is exactly what I wanted to happen. People who are just commenting in and just remembering Bracket Busters. Thanks.
Yes.
The Long Beach game where everybody stormed the court. That was incredible.
Yeah.
I was one of the stormers that night. Kenneth says late night Creighton basketball Bracket Busters is a legit core memory of my childhood. It's fantastic. Also, Douglas writes in, pretty sure Connor just said Creighton top 3 Big East team and then said they should do a Bracket Buster game.
That's right.
I have conflicting things. I love Bracket Buster games, but I'm still getting used to this world where Creighton is like one of the best 20 programs in the country. It's very odd to me still.
How about UTRGV versus...
Nobody wants to see those guys.
That's right. UNI.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. At the McLeod Center.
Let's go. Bring back Bracket Busters.
Every year I randomly watch Arch Madness. I'm like, wow, do you remember this?
Why'd we go away from this?
It's nothing like it used to be, but it's still home to me. Next.
Providence fans should leave Ed Cooley alone.
Interesting. Did you see some of the things that were shouted at Ed Cooley?
Are they still on this?
Oh, they are very angry, Josh. They are not happy.
No, I did not see what happened. I don't know what the scuttlebutt is.
Ed Cooley is now, I believe it's 0-6 against Providence.
Wow.
In the couple of years since he's left. They were yet again not happy at his trip to the dunk or the amp or whatever they call it now over the weekend, shouting bleep words at him.
Oh no, respect
claiming that he's having extramarital affairs and things of this.
Did another documentary come out?
No, I think they retired that one.
Okay.
But maybe it's time to just forgive and forget, Providence people. They were throwing beer up into the sky. They were going crazy this weekend. Providence is a weird place.
Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened, Friars fans.
Yeah, I'm sure they would love to hear that. That's a great idea.
I'm sure no one's tried that.
And I have one more question that I would like to throw in here before we get to Bigelow.
Okay.
Are you a foul up 3 guy?
No, not really.
I'm not either, and that would actually be my exact response. Not really.
If you've got like, hey, I understand Steph Curry was not Steph Curry in college, but like if you've got a gunner and you know the ball's going there, maybe you entertain the idea.
So a good example of this here is Caleb Love last night at the end of regulation between Iowa State and Arizona.
I'm almost wishing he'd missed this. Okay, now watch.
Makes it.
Yep.
What do you want Iowa State to do?
Yeah, Iowa State just cannot give up the 3-point line.
Del Orso.
It's got to go down the court.
3-point game.
Too far.
Here's Love for the tie.
Are you now a foul up 3 guy?
I mean, they didn't have the timeout to advance the ball. You
don't do that. You don't do that in this game.
Not anymore.
Not in men's
Not
basketball.
Ever?
Women's basketball.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. We're talking about women's basketball.
Clearly. I'm learning.
That's okay. That's okay. They do quarters. It's a whole different ballgame.
Every January, I learn college basketball all over again.
Yeah, that's okay. But the question still remains:
you got to go the whole court. No, I wouldn't have fouled that guy.
But if you would have fouled him, it would have been a 1-and-1. He probably would have missed because he never makes anything until he gets a 60-footer off. You know,
I'm really impatient. I would let's get the hell out of here.
But this is not
the hell out of
coaches
here.
will take time out. I see it happen in women's basketball all the time. They're down 6 with 0.8 seconds left, and they're like, "We got the ball back. Let's take a timeout. Let's advance it. Let's see if we can get a 3,
extend
and
the
then get a
game.
foul, and then you're not going to do it in 0.8 seconds. The ball literally can't go through the hoop in 0.8 seconds. That's how it takes longer than that. But they'll still take the timeout.
Yeah, they will.
Because coaches are freaks. They're crazy.
I got nowhere else to be. I'll be here all night.
Every piece of evidence I see when this happens, I get a little piece of me dies more and more and more. I'm like, I'm not a foul up 3 guy. I'm not a foul up 3 guy.
You got it.
And then somebody does it and it works, and I'm like, dang, that really worked. And then Caleb Love shows up and he drills a 90-footer, and I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have done that, and he would have made that against me. That's crazy.
You got to get to him like on the catch to foul him before he can turn and hoist the shot, so he's not in the act of shooting.
Definitely, that is a key.
You got to get there quick.
Yeah,
if you're going to do it.
Yes, but there was 2 seconds left.
Sure.
I'm not a foul up 3 guy still, but I'm closer every day.
Every day, huh?
We'll ask Jacob Bigelow if he's a foul up 3 guy.
Oh,
next on 1620 The Zone.
That's the country song, right? Remember when?
Thank you. Jacob Bigelow.
Yeah. Whenever my open is concocted, throw that in there.
He's on fire! Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, on the Connor Happer Show, on 1620, The Zone.
Boom shakalaka!
All right, we're joined now by our good friend, Hoops Sicko, Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated and the Stretch Big Pod and many other pods. Hello, Jacob.
Hello. How's it going, Hap?
Good. Are you a foul up 3 guy?
Most of the time I'm not. But I kind of feel like every time there's an instance like late last night out in Tucson, Arizona, part of me just kind of, I'm like, am I? Like, I'm like, do I need to reconsider my stance? But I'd say 90% of the time, I would say I am not.
I know. I feel the exact same way. I just, every time a situation like that happens, I'm like, well, I guess I could have prevented this. It would have made the game a lot more annoying, but I could have prevented this. But I can't bring myself to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Even, not that I'm in control of it ever, but because I'm never coaching, but I'm just putting myself in their shoes.
Yeah. It's quite the discourse. People are very, very passionate about it, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? Let it play out. It's a game. Let it happen, and that's just the laissez-faire nature of myself, I guess. But most of the time, I would say I'm not a foul 3 guy.
Speaking of the laissez-faire nature of yourself, you decided to hop in the replacement car and make the trek up to Madison or the Wisconsin area this weekend. This is the latest stop on your Bigelow road trip 2024-5.
Yes, it was pre-planned well in advance. It was also planned well before Nebraska was on a 5-game losing streak. But in a basketball season that has included trips to Allen Fieldhouse, Hilton Coliseum, even an extra sicko basketball game where Doug Gottlieb was a coach, I found my way into up to Madison, and it kind of went almost exactly as I anticipated it going. But aside from the basketball game, I got my semi-yearly restock of New Glarus Belgian Red. I got to be reminded of how good of a college town Madison is. Stopped at State Street Brats and got to see some friends. So I checked all my personal boxes, but then the basketball game happened.
What did you find about how Wisconsin basketball fans feel about Nebraska basketball fans? Do they feel any emotion?
I wasn't amongst. I guess I didn't get a good gauge on that. I got to feel the students' emotions towards one Connor Esesian quite evidently throughout that basketball game. They made those feelings pretty loud and clear, which I kind of didn't expect, but was a little bit out of left field. But I don't think there was much. I think the Wisconsin Nebraska fandom. It's definitely a lot more fire in football, but it's just I didn't get a straight answer to that during Sunday.
Well, how did things end up the way that they have ended up? It's not over, but how have things ended up here for Nebraska basketball right now?
That's the $1 million question, right? There has clearly been a switch that was flipped in the wrong direction somewhere along the way, and it kind of feels like it may have been a few weeks back in Iowa City in the midst of that 15-point lead slipping away, and it's just been kind of downhill ever since. But I think, the thing is, like, schematically and even aesthetically, there isn't that much that looks different. On offense, there are some possessions where they look lost, where they're just kind of dribbling around a lot. They're not, running. I don't think they're running many set plays to get guys looks. And then, defensively, they are clearly set in their ways. They're going to live and die with double the post, block the baseline and scramble out to shooters, no matter the opponent that is on the other side. And so schematically and aesthetically, it doesn't look that much different, but it's just like the vibe.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. The vibes are bad.
I hate to sound like extra, I'm 27, so I don't know if that makes me millennial or what that makes me generation wise. But just the vibes are atrocious. The the energy going into timeouts, the bench, there's no juice. There's no like it is very like I'm not a body language expert. I'm certainly not a sports psychologist, but it just the things are bad, and they do not appear to be trending toward improvement. And it's just from top to bottom. This is a team that's gone from it looked like they were going to play every game with their hair on fire and be flying around. Commit to being this grimy grit. I think you compared them to a barge at some point at the start of the season.
Yeah,
but
right.
in an affectionate way. Like I think they were committed to that, and now I don't really know what to call them because it has flipped to can they score, and I don't know if they can guard, and you can't have both of those questions if you want to win basketball games.
Yeah. So along the same lines of fouling up three, I always enjoy asking coaches, and they're always passionate in their responses. How do you get your team to not let the offensive failures trail into defensive failures? How do you continue to have the teeth of your defense, even though you might not be having success offensively? That has been a question that Nebraska has not found an answer to, because I think in part it is, they do have some emotional, like kind of leaders, and they go with the flow, and when it's good, it's good, but when it's bad, it's bad. And I'm not sure how they it could happen overnight, I suppose, but you really have to reset that. I don't know what message could be, further gotten across that is clear. Hey, we can't let this bad offense trickle over to the defensive side. We cannot allow that to happen.
Yeah, and you'd think that with how much it's been emphasized that defense has to be the constant for this team, that that would be a major point of emphasis. Fred Hoiberg has openly said we're not a pretty team, and boy, have things not been pretty ever since he made that comment. That was going into UCLA, I think. But this has been. It's just been. It feels. I don't want to call it like a tale of two teams, because they're the same team. The questions that you had when they were winning games are still there. Like, what is the offense outside of Bryce Williams? What happens when teams start to make threes? What are they going to get from having supposed post depth, which includes a 7-foot guy who didn't play a single minute on Sunday in Madison? They had the questions at point guard. It's like they went from having they went from having no point guards to having two. Now, what is that position? It's there. Right. There are so many questions that have been there since the start of the year, and they've all reared their ugly head over the last 3 weeks.
What do you speaking of point guard, 0 point guards, 1 point guard, 2 point guards, what do you make of the lineup changes and the tinkering that Fred's done over the last couple? It feels like kind of throwing stuff at the wall to me. I guess what do you make out of that?
It kind of does to me as well. Like, just looking for any spark that they can find, because you and I have talked about this before. Like, the start of games is so important for them. Like, they have to be the team that it feels like they have to be the team that throws and lands the first punch. And when Fred has openly talked about how it's not about the guys that start the game, it's about the guys that finish the game. He's tried to lessen the importance of that, but I think that's pretty evident and clear. Is they have to get off to good starts, and they have to throw and land that first punch for things to even be trending positive. And you look at that game on Sunday, they get down 19-2, and they found a way to claw back, but still wound up losing by 28 when they got within 3. It's very complicated, to say the least. There were times on Sunday where it looks like they were playing their best basketball when their 2 emotional leader 6-year guys who they took to media day at the start of the year weren't on the floor. There's just so weird. A lot of confusion, a lot of weird vibes, weird groupings on the floor, weird rotations. Everything. It just all seems off to me.
Elsewhere, tonight in local college basketball, now the Huskers don't play, and Creighton doesn't play until tomorrow, and the Mavs don't play until tomorrow. But we do have Chucky Hepburn versus Hunter Salas tonight in Louisville. I assume that you are incredibly interested in this battle.
I am, even to the point where some people asked, "Are you going to be in Louisville on Tuesday?" You've just kind of been all over the place. Like the last Chucky Hunter game, are you going to sneak your way down there? I can't confirm. I am not in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, thank you for confirming. We needed confirmation, though. We did.
Yeah, I will not magically be ending up there, but I am definitely interested because it's two teams that are now in the thick of it in the ACC. Louisville in year one under Pat Kelsey, they're, and even with the injuries they've had, they're still playing really well. Chucky's having a career year, and then Wake had been on a nice little run. They lost to Duke over the weekend, so they're not tied with Louisville anymore. But after a slow start, Hunter Salas is kind of rounding into form, making a case. I think he'll be a first team ACC guy just with the numbers he's putting up, and then just the story. I mean, Chucky and Hunter have been playing basketball either with or against each other since they were about 6 years old, I think. They grew up playing together. They played on a lot of the same teams when they were younger, and then obviously those couple years where they had just the very memorable battles between Millard North and Bellevue West. And now they're matched up. This is the only scheduled matchup between Louisville and Wake this season, and it could be the last head-to-head between them in their basketball careers. So I will definitely be tuned in.
Hey, speaking of local guys, does it make you feel anything? Does it make you feel any differently? Because I feel like over the years we've been sort of desensitized to this, but for Nebraska basketball now in this slide, in the last two, you've had Tanji and St. Thomas have nice games and enjoy themselves against Nebraska basketball. Like, does that move the meter at all for you, just as far as those two are concerned, doing it against Nebraska?
Not particularly. I have some direct knowledge of the John Tanji story. I mean, people forget how under recruited he was. He was in the class of 2019. He didn't win state player of the year that year. Even he ends up at Colorado State and just develops incredibly well, to the point where he was at Missouri last year before injuries sidelined him, and he's just come such a long way. I think he, on his 247 page, it lists like 3 D1 offers. It was like Colorado State, Omaha, and I forget the other one. So he's come a really long way into being the player he is now. And then with St. Thomas, I mean, it's kind of similar. Just a credit to him, his work ethic, and his development. I would encourage everyone to go check out a feature that ran in the LA Times yesterday about Saint and his college basketball journey, but also his struggles with mental health. How that led him to leave Loyola, and the trials and tribulations that he's been through these last couple of years. And it's just a testament to those guys, because those two, Frankie Fiddler, who did what he did at Omaha, for the years that he did, to the point where he's able to play at Michigan State. That's a credit to those guys and the work that they put in and their development, and just how much they busted their whats to be able to go from lower levels to the high major level. And that doesn't mean that if they had been at Nebraska out of high school that they would be the same player.
Totally,
it doesn't. And it doesn't mean that they'd be performing the way that they are now if they had gone to Nebraska out of high school. And it doesn't really move the meter to me. I know I got accused of asking a baiting question to John Tanji in Madison on Sunday. First and foremost, that's the first question I've asked in any post-game press conference this entire season. You know me, known baiting question asker, clickbait artist me. But I mean, I'm just happy for those guys, man. I'm just happy to see the path that they've been on, the stories that they have, and it helps that I've got some direct knowledge of one of them. And once again, I would encourage everyone to go, check out the, feature on Saint. I think it's Krejci wrote it for the Los Angeles Times yesterday. Great story. And if you're unfamiliar with, what Saint's been through these last couple of years, it'll give you a new perspective.
Yeah, it definitely reflects well on Metro basketball, or basketball in the state of Nebraska. We have all these guys who are doing really, really well right now. And it's more of a memory too, to look back at when all those guys were playing in various high schools at the same time. And now you look around and it's like, man, is there going to be a guy like that? Or is there going to be just one? Or are we going to have an era like that again? Like, it's a good reminder, I think, of those things as well.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, those two state championship games, the COVID year when that was one of the few sporting events going on in the country, and then the following year when Millard North gets their revenge per se in 21. I mean, those are two of the best high school basketball games that I've seen, and that's you and I are Central guys. We had our different eras, points of the Central basketball dynasty where we had front row seats for that. But I mean, those two games were just different, man, just compared to what it's been around here. And when you look at the two teams between Millard North and WS, the guys where they wound up, the numbers they're putting up, and their careers are it's crazy. Someone the other day was like, it's crazy those guys are still in college. I'm like, it kind of is, but I mean, there's the fact that they're still doing their thing at the level they're at is just testament to how good of players we had around here for that run for those couple of years.
All right, Jacob, we'll let you go. We appreciate it as always. Are you still doing the as you dubbed the stupid post game show after Nebrasketball on Thursday?
I believe we are doing what I dubbed stupid post-game therapy on Thursday night after Nebraska takes on Illinois. I saw the graphic of the Big Ten teams that are ranked, and I'm like, Nebraska lost to one of these teams by 37, one of these teams by 36, one of these teams by 28. They play the other two within the next week. So we'll see how that goes. But Thursday night there will be a post-game show. I don't know how long it'll be, but we're still gonna do it.
Enjoy, my friend. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good show. Good rest of the week.
Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, the Stretch Big Pod, and doing a post-game show after Nebraska plays.
He seems real excited about it.
Yeah. All the people who do it are very excited about it. Jack Mitchell, he's like, I can't wait during this losing streak. I can't wait to do this and only this. I love it. I love talking about when teams lose.
Like, not only do you have to sit in it afterwards, you have to watch it. Where Josh yesterday in the crossover was like, I don't want to spend 2 hours on that team two days a week.
You could just not.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Back after this with a look at the latest bad opening press conference.
Oh, no.
On 1620 The Zone. A tweet from @Coach Matt Rule. Matt Rule? Yeah, he's back on Twitter, folks, these days.
Pointing at everybody.
Yeah, he's pointing at Thomas Fedoni, who's at the Senior Bowl. I've seen a couple of shots of Thomas as they go through drills on the NFL Network right now. Actually, it looks like they're doing full team stuff now.
How's that Canadian Heisman guy doing?
Is
he ripping it?
Haven't caught up with him. I
Okay.
assume he has a cannon for an arm and has no idea where it's going. Is that racist or stereotypical? I don't know. Is that too much of a stereotype? Would you think the guy from Canada had a rocket arm with no accuracy? And he's 6'5".
I would think that,
I don't know
yes.
any of those things about him, but I assume. I'm imagining Dolph Lundgren as a football player. That kind of
I'm
guy.
with you.
Okay.
This tracks.
All right. Anyway, Coach Rule's with
Stereotypes are quicker.
Thomas Fedoni. And he's got a picture with the other two people at the Senior Bowl representing Nebraska. Tommy Hill, Ty Robinson. Or, sorry, we're doing this now.
Big ass Ty Robinson.
No thumb. Well, not so big anymore, Josh.
Oh.
He's baby Ty Robinson. Smaller version of himself. He's down about 10, 15 pounds from the season.
Interesting.
You know, thin down a little bit. You can get a little bit more athletic, move around that line, more positionless, more positionally versatile, if that's a phrase at all. I don't think it is.
I had trouble reading one of their graphics yesterday.
Oh, are you mad at their graphic design team?
I am. They're
What do you got? What do you got?
The way they list height is very odd to me.
Well, they have to put and a quarter and a 3/4 and a half.
Yeah. So like this guy, Kyle Williams, Washington State, height 5'102". There's no markers of any distinction or anything. No decimals. No
5'102". Yeah, you just got to know ball. You just got to know measurements.
Yeah.
Measurements ball.
Prince.
I would assume
Allen.
that means 5'10" and 2/10.
I would imagine so. Yes. Okay. I got there eventually, but I'm like, why is this more complicated than to be?
That's just knowing ball. We call Michael. Michael will give you a nice, good breakdown of all this stuff. He's locked in right now, though. Don't talk to him. He's watching the Senior Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, Ty Robinson, 6'0",
there you go.
That's his height.
6'4" and 7". It does require a little bit of preconceived knowledge, knowledge going into it, right?
Wait, 296. That makes sense. Hand 1000.
10000. How many zeros?
3.
10. I don't know what a good hand is, though. I don't know what a good hand is. I have no hands to compare.
Wing 7868. What does this mean?
7'8" wingspan?
It's a lot taller than his body.
78 feet? I don't know. Johnny Milson.
Hi, John.
There's no way a guy from Canada has a rocket arm. Yeah, right. That guy.
Doug Flutie threw that Hail Mary that one time.
Yeah, that guy's got a cannon. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Meanwhile, back here in Nebraska, the Huskers are hosting offensive lineman transfer Rocco Spindler today.
Oh.
What a name. And where did he play last year? But Notre Dame. This is where Josh would normally say if he wasn't rolling over to the phones right now. But Notre Dame, they played for the national championship just a week or 8 days ago. That's right, Josh. That is exactly what happened. They did play for the national championship, and one of their starters is in the transfer portal, and his name is Rocco, and he's visiting Nebraska. But the thing about Rocco is that he started at right guard last year for Notre Dame. Does Nebraska need another guard? We've talked all offseason long about how they need tackles, and they need more tackles. Do they need more guards? I would just generally say this. If you have an opportunity to bring in a starter from Notre Dame who was just in the national championship, and Nebraska has what it has on the offensive line in general, yes, of course, they need tackles, more then they need guards at this point. It wouldn't be a bad thing to be able to bring in an interior offensive lineman as well. Or you, of course, have the possibility that the guy could play tackle. I don't know if that's in his repertoire or not. But if he is a interior offensive lineman, maybe Nebraska could put him at guard and they could easily slide Mr. Evans, Justin Evans, over to center to take over for Ben Scott. And then you have your interior line all locked away with Mr. Spindler, Mr. Evans, and Mr. Lutovsky. And then you still got to fill out, you got one of your tackles figured out with Mr. Pritchett, and then whatever else happens.
Always tinkering.
Always tinkering.
And Kenneth.
When you got a chance to add people, you add people, baby.
Kenneth says, Rocco rocks. Good guy from a good family. Good culture.
Kenneth is a Notre Dame guy.
Lincoln.
We got our eyes on Notre Dame.
Wasn't going to start in South Bend in 25.
Okay.
Guard only, not big enough to play tackle.
All right, perfect. There you go. Thank you for the scouting report, Kenneth. I'll grunt that back for you. Works for me.
Bonus grunts.
I'll take it. If you're offering, I'll take it.
Okay.
Sounds like a good player. I'm into it. Nebraska could use all the help it gets on the offensive line, or really, you're looking for just good players at all points of the year at this point. So, I'm on board for it. I definitely don't think there's anybody out there saying no thanks. At the same time, I wouldn't be like, oh, this guy's going to fix everything and all of our problems are gone now. Also not the case.
He's not.
Let's go one. You may have seen this a few times yesterday, but we love to judge introductory press conferences, Josh.
Oh, yes, we do.
Introductory press conferences. And I only have 4 seconds of this press conference to show you, but I will have you grade the press conference with only showing you this 4 seconds. Here's Liam Cohen, the new coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Enjoy this if you're watching along with us on YouTube.
Duval.
That press conference.
Boy, he didn't really sell it. I'm going to go F.
I actually think he tried to sell it too hard.
Oh.
I think he oversold it. Duval. Was he trying to sex it up? I'm not sure what he was doing.
It's almost as if he had only read Duval like that on Twitter and never heard anyone say
There was a video that I saw later, and it was the classic, like they gave him a cell phone. They were like, hey, talking to the cell phone. And it's on Instagram or whatever. And he goes, hey guys, it's Liam Cohen, and I'm excited to get things started here. And by the way, Duval, like he did it right. I think he got swept up into something, he got off on the wrong foot and then ended up having to say Duval. Can we play this again, Josh? You don't even need to give me the audio. Well, actually do one more time. Here's Liam.
Duval.
How does he have such control over his eyebrows? I'm amazed. Duval.
Well,
I think he just missed. And as we all know, introductory press conferences are the sole thing that matters as it pertains to success of a head coach.
So I'm going to, based on where Liam Cohen has come from, the Northeast, the Ivy Leagues,
Duval.
I'm going to bet he just doesn't have any bass in his voice, and I'm going to then spin that forward and say...
Do you think he has any social skills?
No. The Jags go 0-17. This is doomed. Doomed from the start. Whoa. Hold on.
What?
After his playing career ended, he worked at Brown as their quarterbacks coach in 2010, as well as 2012 to 2013.
Brown.
He spent 2011 with Rhode Island as their pass game coordinator. He then moved to UMass in 2014. He was then hired by Maine as their OC in 2016, incorporating schemes he learned at UMass from Mark Whipple.
Mark Whipple.
Whipple.
Wow. What a great connection. That's exciting. I'm sure he tells everybody that when he goes to good jobs. Hey, Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger. We just got to do what Ben Roethlisberger did. We'll be fine.
Jeff writes in.
Hi, Jeff.
Who was that head coach of the Jets with the weird eyes? These guys know each other for sure.
Adam Gase.
Mr. Gase. Mr. Gase.
Spot on comp.
Now, the thing that people use in case their coach has a bad introductory press conference is now Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell did the bite your kneecaps off and everyone thought he was a psycho weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
He turned out okay. Do you think that this is the next Dan Campbell?
But it's so close to what Adam Gase did.
Yeah. It's a lot more awkward than what Dan Campbell did.
I can't do the mental gymnastics to get to Dan. Oh, no, that was Dan Campbell, not Adam Gase.
Yeah. I don't think it means anything for their team, but people will definitely bring it back. Sirianni had a bad opening press conference.
He did. And he's in the Super Bowl.
He's worked out, but people don't think he's any less weird than they did. I think people genuinely like and appreciate the, Dan Campbell and his spirit.
Right. I don't know a lot of people who are like, no, Nick Sirianni's a great coach.
I love that guy.
He's the reason they're going to the Super Bowl. Duval.
TBD on Mr. Cohen.
Yeah.
Who, notably, we talked about last week because he's only in that job because he strong-armed his way into Jags firing their general manager to hire him.
So maybe he is very persuasive.
Yeah, maybe this is the guy that they'll be saying about him in 3 years. It's just like, there's just something about him. I just want to follow him. I just want to listen to him.
Just want to clear the road for him to succeed.
Maybe. Or maybe he's Adam Gase. Back after this with the polls, we'll tell you what to watch on 1620 The Zone. To the polls at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Are you interested in dollars?
Hell yes.
Now, you would think this is a layup of a poll question, right? This is one of those where we really find out our margin for troll. I am interested in dollars. Yes. 90%. Only 89% say yes. Meaning we are hitting at least a 10% troll rate today.
Wow.
Just so you know.
Higher than I would have thought.
Would you eat a groundhog? I would.
You kind of talked me into it. Yeah,
Breaded and fried.
Mm-hmm.
67% say no.
I'd try.
Do you love SZA? I do. I like SZA.
I don't hate SZA.
Okay. So that's a yes for you?
So I'll vote yes.
81% say no.
Oh, wow.
Embarrassing by you guys.
Folds.
When watching The Lion King, did you want to eat the bugs that Timon and Pumbaa got out of that big log?
Connor Happer earlier in the show, A, said that, and B, said this is coming back 75% yes. Just want to set the record here. Most voted on poll question of the day, by the way.
73% say no. Wow, what a miscalculation by me. Embarrassing. Wow. Josh. Wow.
Nobody wants this.
Unbelievable. I missed. I absolutely missed.
You had two people right away that were in your camp. You're like, yes, Connor. Finally, someone had the balls to say it.
Wow. Well, the poll's still open. It's got 22 hours left.
Yeah.
Maybe we can flip it completely. And
Stranger
more.
things have happened.
Yeah. And finally, do you mess with pickled asparagus? I do. I mess with it.
Never have, but would.
68% say no. Wow, I'm on the wrong side of a lot today. I'm on the wrong side of would you eat a groundhog? I'm on the wrong side of SZA. On the wrong side of the grub out of the big log. And I'm on the wrong side of pickled asparagus.
Sad.
I'm on the right side of are you interested in dollars?
Okay,
which
that's
is good.
That's good.
All right, those are the polls. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
We got a big basketball game on ESPN, 6 o'clock. No golf tonight.
Thank
number
God.
12, Kentucky at number 8, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And then same time on ACC Network. Connor, I know this is a struggle for you to find ACC Network.
Nah, my TV tells me what to watch.
That's right. Wake Forest at number 21, Louisville.
That's right.
Jacob Bigelow not in attendance.
That's correct.
Minnesota at number 7, Michigan State, 7 o'clock on Peacock. Number 9, Marquette on the road at Hinkle to take on Butler. 7:30 FS1. The women are on BTN tonight. 7 o'clock tip for Iowa as they host Northwestern. Just a 4-game slate in the NBA tonight. 2 of them are on TNT. 6:30 tip in Philly as the Sixers host the Lakers. And then I don't know if this is the first time this has happened. They're billing it as it is, so it must be, right? Bucks at Blazers, 9 o'clock, TNT, True TV, and Max. Damian Lillard's return to Portland. I feel like he's played on the Bucks for like 3 years now. They have. He's had to have played in Portland before, yes?
Maybe he opted out of the last time.
Maybe. NHL on Hulu. Avalanche Islanders at 6:30, followed by Stars and Golden Knights. And finally, 8 o'clock tonight on Vice, Brady versus Belichick, the verdict.
Brady versus Belichick?
The verdict. Christopher Mad Dog Russo makes the case for both legends to be the one who gets the credit for the Patriots dynasty.
He's making both of the cases?
He hosts whatever show this is. At 8 o'clock, it is the case for Tom Brady. At 9 o'clock, it is the case for Bill Belichick. Next week will be the third and final installment where Mad Dog gives you the verdict.
He is both the judge and the jury and the prosecution and the defense on this?
That seems to be correct, yes. I don't know exactly what this show is, but Christopher Mad Dog Russo is debating himself.
I love television.
Brady versus Belichick.
I've received a text, Josh.
Okay.
Hell yes to the Lion King grub. Stand your ground on that one. It says that. I'll take a screenshot. I'll show you.
No, I believe you. Clearly, there are some people that agree with you. A quarter of the audience agrees with you.
It's more.
Well, tell them to get to the poll.
Vote. Please vote.
You're going to be bussing people to the polls in an effort to get your numbers up.
I'm going to go to Creighton practice after this. I'm going to start telling people to hop on there and vote.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Steven. You can do me a favor.
Vote. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's the show. If you missed anything, you can find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com. The crossover is next.